anybody loves more than agreeing with Tausch?
Packers Hall of Famer Mark Tauscher.
I got a hunch this isn't going to be concise either.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio.
I would say that you are pretty easygoing. You're actually probably more easygoing than I am.
This is Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
Well, you're not easygoing at all.
Hey!
On 100.5 ESPN, the ESPN app, and Wisconsin On Demand.
It is the Wednesday edition. The Tausch Spring Sabbatical rolls on edition. Jesse, thank you for your service. You have put together a remarkable rotation, like the Atlanta Braves in the 90s. Of Cousin Subs of the Day edition. And what do I call him? Do I call him the Professor? Do I call him 7'2½"? Or do I call him one of the greatest SportsCenter anchors in ESPN history edition? Of Wilde and Tausch. On 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee, 100.5 ESPN Madison, 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam. ESPNWisconsin.com, the ESPN app, your Alexa smart speaker, streaming live video, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, including to 10-day-old Up North Joe's little one, which was pretty cool to see. And, of course, everything you need on WisconsinOnDemand.com and the Wisconsin On Demand app. I'm Jason Wilde in Green Bay. Jesse Nelson is in the Everlight Solar ESPN Madison studios. And from what I can only presume is his luxurious tenured professor's office, postponing his office hours for his young, eager, bright-eyed, and bushy-tailed journalism students. He is. I still can't believe this guy works on our team. I just can't. I just can't. The pride of Missouri.
There we go.
It is our friend John Anderson, our cousin sub of the day. Cousin Subs, we believe in better. John, good morning, my friend. How are you?
I'm good. Listen, I'd be happy to be referred to as Steve Avery of the 90s Braves rotation. I'd take that slot in your group of guys. I feel like maybe I'm the 6th spot starter. We got caught. We just needed a guy who could give us a few innings. If he gets lit up, that's fine. We're not going to waste the bullpen. And so we may come out of here. I may throw 8 and give up 13 hits and 7 runs, but we'll see how it comes through.
Does that make me Bobby Cox?
Makes you Leo Mazzoni. You're just sitting there rocking in the studio. There you go. Perfect.
If you know anything about the Braves, that was an outstanding drop right there. If you know anything about the 1990s Braves, not only dropping the Steve Avery, not to be confused, by the way, with Stephen Avery, who obviously has a different level of renown in Wisconsin, and not a good one.
Right.
But the Leo Mazzoni reference that's why you're the best, the absolute best.
I watched a lot of baseball over the years.
I do want because I don't know how much crossover there is between Wilde and Tausch, Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, the Homer Hour, the shortest radio show on radio. But I don't know how many folks that listen to our show and don't listen to more of our programming, which you should, by the way, it's great, realize how ridiculous it is that we have you on our team. I'm just being honest. With what you've done in your career, and I know you're very comfortable being told how great you are. I know it's one of your favorite things to deal with. But, like, I have there's a montage of different This Is SportsCenter commercials you're in that are outstanding. Yeah. Like some of my all-time favorites. But explain to people how you have segued into your post-SportsCenter career and post-Wipeout career, which was so popular they've brought it back now.
They did.
Well, like I talk to you all the time on Homer's show. I talk to you on Green Bay Game Day. I mean, I get to talk to you a lot. It's awesome. But I don't know if everybody gets to hear you all the time. So what exactly does your post-SportsCenter career look like?
Yeah, so I'm like the worst retiree ever. So that came out wrong. Like he's retiring from SportsCenter. Well, I am. So I do that. By the way, I am not in my wonderful office. I have a great office, by the way. It's a remodeled building, but so you walk by, it looks like one of these great old. It looks like an academic building, which is fantastic. It's big. I got stuff in there. All my stuff that I had in my house that when we moved, I couldn't fit. A lot of it I put in the office. Now it looks like a stupid Hall of Fame instead of like an academic. People walk in and go, why is that guy's whole jersey and pants and everything framed in your office? And I don't have time to tell you all that. So right now, I just want you to know, I'm on spring break too. But I'm like, Tausch, I'm here to work for you guys because I want to be a part of this. When they here it is, I'm like, okay, cancel the tea time. Let's play ball right here for 3 hours. So I'm just hanging out in South Carolina at the beach. But so I just listen. When I left, I had no plans other than to work the 20 days on my ESPN contract, which was just go do 8 track meets. Like that would be awesome. And then sort of a happy confluence of events ended up taking me back to the University of Missouri. So now, in addition to part-time at ESPN, I get to do full-time. Although the guys, I would think most of the other faculty would go, well, he says he's full-time. He's teaching one class right now. So they give you kind of a cushy berth. So literally, like, if I was a student, I'm taking 3 hours, right? That's it. I have a class on Tuesday and Thursday mornings right now. But I do fill in the gaps with a lot of other stuff that I had no idea was involved. But I'm working on another class that will start getting taught this time next year. And then I've got a bunch of other freelance stuff that I end up doing, which is crazy, right? I get to poke around here with you guys every once in a while. I get to listen to Homer talk every Tuesday night for an hour, which is kind of enjoyable. We do a podcast. I do a podcast with a friend of mine, Trevor Thomas, that chats with, just Wisconsin people. I think Mark Murphy is coming up next. I think we have Mark Murphy. But it kind of
for him.
We got to get the Chippewas Walls.
We get Mark. We had the guy that we've had the Line and Kugels on. We've had the guy from the Aaron Snowblower. By the way, you've never seen a look on a guy's face when we go, have you ever thought about putting warning stickers on that? And maybe painting it a bright orange color so that people can't see it. So that not all executives get the joke. But we bounce around. So I have stuff to do all the time, and enough to irritate all the people in my life, meaning like, why can't we go to dinner last night? Well, because I got to talk to Homer for an hour. And my wife correctly said, but what if you just every once in a while just figured a way to tape your voice and interject about every 13 minutes, and people would think you were doing the show anyway. So, I got a bunch of stuff, which is good. None of it, and the best part of all of it, this is what it boils down to, Jason, is none of it happens at 2:30 in the morning. None of it happens at 2 a.m. I am not waiting for the Seattle Mariners and Luis Sojo to make the last out. I'm not waiting for Rob Nen to blow a save in San Francisco. I'm not waiting for Barry Bonds to hit home run number 753 and keeping me up all night. So that's the best part of it, is like most everything I can do, I get to do in daylight hours, which is amazing.
In 11 big league seasons, 7 with the Atlanta Braves, 2 with the Boston Red Sox, 1 with the Cincinnati Reds and one with the Detroit Tigers. Steve Avery
his hometown Detroit Tigers.
Not 96 and 83, a 536 winning percentage, extrapolated for 162 games, 12 and 10 every year. That's what that comes out to.
Well, look at him though. When he first came up because he was a Detroit kid or a Michigan kid. When he came up, they thought he was going to be the guy that they were going to have, 4 of them with Glavine, Smoltz, and Maddox, and that guy came out, and he was like 18 or 19 or 20. I bet if you look at his first year season, he was a young guy, and it just never quite stuck. It took his early years were great.
In his rookie year in 1990, he went 3-11, but in 1991 he was 18-8.
And
with
how old
a
was he?
3.38 ERA, and he's pretty darn good in 92 as well. So, don't sell yourself short, Judge. You're a tremendous slouch. We're happy to have you. I am going to sprinkle in these questions throughout the course of the show, though, because and by the way, if you have not checked out Inside Wisconsin, they had an episode recently that I really enjoyed. No, it was
one of the longer ones.
The one
it was one of the longer ones you do.
No, it was Mike Kelly, who I love, and he and I talked last week. I mean, we're going to start really working on. In earnest, getting Dick Bennett into the Basketball Hall of Fame. We think that that's a worthy endeavor. And you guys surprised him with Coach Bennett appearing on there. So I can't recommend enough. When you're not listening to our programming, check that podcast out. If you want to check out the one I'm on. I will say this, after Mike Kelly got done, Sydney and I were driving, and we were picking up Maddie, and then Maddie got in the car, and the next one that played automatically was mine. And the girls actually were interested. I don't think they finished it because it was so damn long, but they were at least interested in hearing me talk to you and Trevor about my career and everything else. So that is a fun thing that you guys do. I know we have some crossover partners that support our show and support yours, so it's pretty cool when I get a chance to be on there. All right, we've got John Anderson in and as our cousin sub of the day. Did you say you're technically on spring break? Like, is that your humble abode, or you're on like an actual vacation and you chose to be on with us?
I'm actually on vacation. I'm actually sitting. If I look out here, I can see the beach and about it. I don't know. It's a pitching wedge away. It's not even a pitching. It's a scalded pitching wedge away.
Jesse, did you know that John Anderson was going to be on vacation when you asked him to do this?
Spring break did come up when we exchanged notes back and forth last week. I guess I didn't really realize this was his week of spring break. So no, not entirely, but how thoughtful of him to still join us. That's very nice. Sorry.
So for those like retired Navy fella who understands it, but also for those who don't, when we say on this show, thank you for your service, it is because we understand that those that protect our country and fight against threats, foreign and domestic, do the real thank you for your service deserving work. We usually use it sarcastically when Jesse actually gets all 3 of the questions for trivia right for our contestants. Now, in this instance, though, somewhere in between is thank you for your service, because I can't believe you're doing this show while you're on vacation. So we have John Anderson as our cousin sub of the day. He will be here for 3 very long hours for him. What is your wife doing? Or is it just you and your wife that are on this trip? Did the kids come too? Like, what does your trip look like?
My daughter is down here because her spring break for college is the same time, and she just loves the place. Like, she comes down here and works all summer and has since she was like 15, which I think is funny because I feel like now my wife will come down and she will spend the summer here with her for the most part, and I think she probably needs more supervision at 21 than she did at 15. Requires more parental guidance when it comes to those things.
Very fair.
So any chance she gets, she's down here all the time. I just get to kind of drop in once in a while and pay the taxes and the dues. That's my job, is to make sure that it bolts up the place, which is totally fine. And And I'd like to make it seem like this is some big sacrifice, but literally, if not, I would be on the golf course this morning. And I was on the golf course Friday, Saturday afternoon, and the scalded wedge shot on 18 out of the bunker, and suddenly my sand wedge was in two parts instead of the one part like it was at the beginning of the swing. So this is like the amount of self-loathing and frustration that you were saving me. This is great. In fact, I'm going to call probably next week or anytime I'm like here, like I think maybe I should make a tea time, and then I'm going to just make it so it dials Jesse or Karmazin or you, so that instead of going to a pro shop, it just comes to you guys, and you guys will be like my bat signal. And then I'm like, okay, I guess Anderson can come on for a couple hours if it means saving him going out to the golf course and shooting 78 or 88 and feeling terrible about himself.
Well, then, in that case, you're welcome for our service. And we're
Exactly.
happy to have you.
Yeah, you guys are this is cheaper than therapy.
And certainly cheaper than the new wedge you're going to have to buy eventually, so you can play again when you choose to do so. John Anderson is our cousin sub of the day. Cousin subs, we believe in better. We are going to talk state of the Packers. It seems like everyone is doing a state of the fill in the blank. I think I was on with Vinny and the boys this morning, or Vinny and Michelle actually this morning. She's filling in for Eric Bilstad. And they were talking about the county executive in Milwaukee has the state of the county. They just had the state of the city from Mayor Cavalier Johnson. We had state of the state from the governor, who's still ducking us for our big pickleball matchup. So we're going to do a little bit of the state of the Packers, which is generally a summer show that we do at Summerfest. But because John grew up here, loves the Packers, I'm curious, especially since he doesn't get to talk a whole lot when he's on with Homer, how he feels about where this team is at on March 26th. Doesn't mean that's going to be where they are on July 26th when they start training camp, or September 26th when they're getting ready to go to Dublin for their fourth game of the season. But I'm curious how he feels about where they're at now. We'll talk about that coming up after Tausch tells us about Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. So stick around with John Anderson as our cousin sub of the day. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Mark Tauscher here for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Well, we talk a lot about the unprecedented quality and service you get from Pella. But talking to the people who work there, you can tell how much they genuinely love what they do. Pella's team is with you from start to finish. They don't disappear after the sale. Right now, take advantage of windows as low as $22 per month and doors as low as $89 per month. Certain restrictions do apply. This offer ends March 31st, 2025. Get started today at PellaWI.com.
This is Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella today, 855-PELLA-WI, and online at PellaWI.com/radio.
Champions aren't made overnight, and neither was Pizza Hut's Stuffed Crust Pizza. They're the OG, the GOAT, the one and only. Others may try to copy, but they're not like Pizza Hut. For a limited time, score big with a large 3-topping stuffed crust pizza for just $11.99. It's perfect for watching big games on the go. Hurry, you won't want to miss this championship deal before it's gone. Head to one of their locations or order online at pizzahut.com. Pizza Hut, no one out-pizzas the Hut.
Welcome to the Chevy Lightning Round. Guess the clues to win. First team, you're up.
Powerful, commanding, unstoppable.
Silverado.
Adventurous, fun, techie.
Trailblazer.
Stylish, nimble.
Trax.
Innovative, electric.
Blazer EV.
Lightning Round champions. You've guessed all the right Chevy clues.
Wherever the year takes you, explore it together in the Chevy of your choice. See your Badgerland Chevy dealer today.
Associated Bank knows your small business isn't just a venture. It's your dream and a vital part of the community. And we're not just a bank. We're your neighbors. We're looking out for you. That's why Associated Bank offers quick online applications and approvals with funding in as fast as one business day, checking with no minimum balances or maintenance fees, and prompt customer service. Explore our products at associatedbank.com/business or visit a branch for more details. Subject to credit approval. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Ben Brust here to tell you about the Princeton Club. If you're looking for a place where you can better yourself while having a wonderful atmosphere, you have it at the Princeton Club. Strong communities, strong body, and strong mind. All it takes is one small step to start today. You will see that you have everything you need in order to achieve all of your goals. Find your better tomorrow at the Princeton Club. 8 Madison locations where you go in there, you take a tour, and you realize this is a place for me. Find more at PrincetonClub.net.
Live the high life and get into the nitty-gritty, home of the award-winning Gritty Burger and Madison's official birthday place. Enjoy a full menu including sandwiches, specialty burgers, wraps, salads, and weekend brunch. With a family-friendly environment, it's a great place to watch the big game. Plus, they've got Miller High Life Power Hour specials daily. Located in downtown Madison, Middleton, and Sun Prairie. The nitty-gritty, a tradition since 1968. Also enjoy high life at Bar Coralini, Paradise Lounge, and Jordan's Big Ten Pub.
If you're looking for a special piece of jewelry for any occasion, Condon Jewelers is always there for you. Condon Jewelers has the best selection of jewelry you'll ever find and guaranteed to have the lowest prices in the Madison area. Free shipping is always available. Visit CondonJeweler.com or call 241-3406 and ask for Jim, the owner, who's at the store every day. Shop locally. Condon Jewelers, the jeweler on the east side, the jeweler on your side.
March is bonus time at Audi Madison. Save $3,000 on select 2025 Audi A3, A4, A5, or Q7 models. Save $4,000 on select 2025 A6, Q5, or Q8 models. Customer bonus applied towards the purchase or lease of a new Audi, but is only available until March 31st. Stop in and test drive today. Check out AudiMadison.com to see current inventory and specials. Start your adventure at Audi Madison today, off the Beltline and Rimrock Road.
Get ready, Madison. The Packers Tailgate Tour rolls back into town on Wednesday, April 9th. Hey, it's Molly Brown from Jim, Matt, and Molly. Join us in supporting Dairyland Sports, a Madison-based nonprofit improving access to sports, fitness, and recreation for individuals with physical disabilities in Wisconsin. Learn more and support the cause at dairylandsports.org/Packers Tailgate. And stay tuned to ESPN Madison for your chance to win VIP tickets to the Packers Tailgate Tour. Sponsored by Visit Verona, Paul's Party, and ESPN Madison.
We're on the Packers.
If they're not better this year,
because we're on Wisconsin sports,
there's going to be a lot of seats warming up.
Nobody covers the green and gold like 100.5 ESPN.
Dancing on the edge, got to take it too far. Messing with my head, how I mess with your heart. If you wake up in your bed, alone in the dark, I'm sorry. Gotta leave before you love me. Leave before you love me. Leave before you love me. Leave before you love me.
John Anderson of SportsCenter and Wipeout fame, and now a member of the esteemed faculty of the University of Missouri, where hopefully their most recent women's basketball coach has more success at Wisconsin than she had in recent years in Missouri. But we're lucky to have John Anderson, and hopefully the Badgers will feel the same way about Robin Pingeton.
Pingeton.
Get that right?
Yep, Robin Pingeton.
We'll get the scouting report on her teams a little bit later from John. But let's do the scouting report on how you feel about the Packers right now. You and I get to talk every Tuesday on the Homer Hour when he's not winging his way to a destination with the Marquette Golden Eagles and you guys surreptitiously pre-tape without me. So I'm curious, you look at this offseason, they've paid a guard and a nickel corner. I'm not sure how exciting that is for the fan base. How do you feel about where this team stands on March 26th, the year of our Lord 2025?
Well, it's funny when you said the state of the Packers, people do it, you usually do it in the summer. And isn't state of the Packers an everyday thing? I don't know that in other towns, and I've been in, I was in Phoenix for sure. I know they didn't do it there, but even being close to the tri-state area, watching the Patriots, I don't know that the Giants, that they take the pulse of their team every single day like they do in Green Bay. At least tomorrow once Russell Wilson is signed in New York, and that'll be great because the Yankees open Thursday and they won't think about Russell Wilson for a while. Whereas that would be everyday thing. So I think it's curious that the state of the Packers is just today. Like, to me, that has been every day, all the time. I can see my dad still watching the local news in the 70s, right? And it's June 3rd, and you're like, I don't have any Packer news. What's the other guy got? And he'd flip the channel. And you tell people that, and you're like, no, that's really not that far from the truth. So, but to the heart of your question, I don't feel any different about the Packers or where they are than they were on the afternoon of January 12th after losing to the Eagles, right? Like, they're the same thing right now. You've asked what they put in those two little spots. Jair Alexander is still there. We're still wondering, okay, will Jordan Love make the leap this year that we thought he would make last year? The same weaknesses are the same weaknesses, right? Can they get an edge rusher enough? Because then we can help our corners. Are they going to identify a number one receiver and try to make somebody one by calling plays to in service to that, or are they going to go find stuff? Like, I just think they haven't done anything, which is totally fine, because I think, unlike some of the Giants or some of the other places, which is one of the amazing things for the Packers since Ron Wolf showed up in those 30 plus years, is that they never start from ground zero. They're never below water. They're never at sea level. They've had a couple years that weren't great, but you always had a quarterback, and so I think that's amazing to see how many teams, like the Browns, can't get to sea level. Like, how are you going to go beyond that? And the Packers every year get to start above water in good shape. So I am neither disappointed nor surprised nor anything about where they are. And we'll see what happens come draft day. But they're young people, and I think a young team that they're going to give these guys one more year for sure before they decide that they need to maybe make any kind of major changes. And when all you're doing is tweaking, you're writing a lot about speculation and woulda, shoulda, couldas, and not much of it's actually happening.
So were you bothered at all by, say, and again, I always want to make sure that people understand my biases. That doesn't mean that I only wanted this to happen because he's one of my guys. But I just felt like the Davante Adams piece made so much sense. So much more sense than DK Metcalf, because it gave you a number one caliber wide receiver that could hold that place for a year or a year and a half, while the two guys that you most likely think are going to be capable of that, who are coming off of a combined 19 drops in Jaden Reed and Dontavion Wicks, can grow into that role the way Davante did behind Jordy. And to learn that Brian Gutekunst never even placed a call to Davante or to Frank Bauer, his agent, that surprised me. And maybe it shouldn't have. Is there any disappointment for you that that avenue wasn't at least explored, especially by a general manager who, upon getting the job, said, we want to be in every conversation, but wasn't in that one in any way?
I'm trying to think how often the placeholder idea has worked for people. Coming back is really tough, I think, for any guy, because all we're going to see is the 28-year-old All-Pro Davante Adams, who worked with Aaron Rodgers, right? You got to have both half of that. And is there any guarantee that he and Jordan Love have the same kind of chemistry and make the same number of plays and all those throws that we know, love, and that's our view of him in our mind's eye of what that is. I don't know how. I also think the other way is, how much did Davante Adams think of that if his agent didn't bother to make a call the other way? Phones, I've seen phones. I can call you and you can call me, So if that's the case, yeah. No,
it's FaceTime.
Right. But I do think that that's something too. I'm not saying, there's a right or wrong in that, but if you have a strong interest in that, and you love Green Bay and all this, I'm not blaming him at all or what he want to do. But I mean, if you want a job and you love the Packers, how much humility, how much do you have to swallow just to make a call and go, hey, my guy's interested. You got any thought? And if he says no, that's fine. But if I'm an agent doing my due diligence, I call the other way too. Devontae Green Bay makes sense. So I don't know that either side's more culpable than the other in that case. And he's just shown that's just not how he operates. It's just name somebody where he's done that, you know? And I do think you bring him back with all these expectations and he's, by all accounts, still really good player, right? I'm not trying to sell a diminished talent at him, but he is 2 years older than when he left, 3 years older than when he left. So I'm not mad that he wasn't in that conversation. I do think I've never said this. I've never had a forum around Packer people, Packer audience to talk about this, even though it's 3 years down the line. I don't know that anybody ever handled an exit out of town classier than that guy. I mean, in his free agent year, nothing but staying focused on the team. Never once ran down the team. Never expressed disappointment. When he left, then he talked about it. Like, I just thought nobody ever handled a departure from town in that situations, which usually get ugly. I mean, he was just above board and as classy as you could be about when he was leaving and why he was leaving. And, so hell, for that regard, I'll just take him back. I mean, I've had people in the organizations, you probably saw this, when Randall Cobb came back, and they were just, regardless of what his talent was, they were just happy to have Randall Cobb back in the building. Like, he was so well respected. And so I don't know that if Devontae holds kind of that same revered status. I think, like I said, I think he did. I think the way he left was really, as good as it could be. But if you're just looking for more locker room guys, I guess it's okay. But no, I'm not offended that you went one way or another. That's just, I mean, the team that's just out of character for the team. That's who they are, and it seems to have worked right up until you get an NFC Championship game at home, and then decide on, late in the game you're going to let a guy run behind you and let Tom Brady throw a pass. But yeah, would I like to have him back? Sure. Do I think he can't wear 17? Andres Carlson has soiled the number. I don't know that you can do that.
I'm sure McManus would give it
up. It all sounds nice in the fairy tale world. I don't know that it works in the everyday world.
Well, to your point about how he left, I still would argue how many players of his stature played out the final year of a contract instead of holding in, holding out, faking an injury, whatever it might have been. Not very many. And I would argue, and I have told him this, you were probably classy to a fault. You probably should have not done anything in 2021 until they addressed your contract. And that's just not how he is wired. Now, I do think that he maybe took a lesson from that to help himself engineer his way out of Las Vegas after the way that played out, because that did not play out the way he wanted it to, obviously, going there to play with his college QB and it not happening for longer than a year. But the bottom line is, and this is what I want to get to next, so then what confidence level do you have in this wide receiver group? Because if they end up running it back with the group they have, minus Christian Watson for at least the first half of the season, and with Mecole Hardman as the one addition, how do you view that group? We'll talk about that coming up because, look, I'm going to write this for Channel3000.com today. Maybe this is finally the year. Maybe this is the year that they draft a wide receiver in the first round. Brian Gutekunst claims that is not a policy. It's just the way it worked out for the last 23 years. But we will get into that with John Anderson, our cousin sub of the day. He is live from the beach, foolishly spending 3 hours with us, but it's keeping him off the golf course where he doesn't have a sand wedge.
Oh, no, I got another one. I got extras.
Got one already. Okay, good.
Well, yeah, it's not. This is not the first time that's happened, Doctor.
Always bring a spare just in case.
Indeed, Professor. Tausch is going to tell us about Coors Light. We'll have more with John Anderson, our cousin sub of the day. Stick around. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Mark Tauscher here for the Blue Mountains of cold, refreshing Coors Light. Well, whether you're tailgating pregame, enjoying your experience during the game, or celebrating a big win after the game, or you just need a moment to chill, crack open a Rocky Mountain cold Coors Light. Coors Light is brewed with a 3-step cold process, cold lager, cold filter, and it's cold packaged, so it's actually made to chill. The mountains on Coors Light's cold-activated bottles and cans, they turn blue. That's when you know it is chilled to perfection, which, besides the refreshing taste, is my favorite thing about drinking Coors Light. Refreshingly cold and only 102 calories, Coors Light is made to chill. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
We're on the Badgers.
It was successful, but also disappointing. That's just what this season was. I don't think any of us went into this season going, they're going to be a 3 seed. They're going to be really good this year. They're going to be competing for a Big Ten championship again.
This is 100.5 ESPN and Wisconsin On Demand.
Hey football fans, Verizon is giving you the chance to win the ultimate draft experience with the Road to the Draft sweepstakes. 10 lucky winners will win tickets for the first day of the 2025 draft in Green Bay, including round-trip car service from Milwaukee, hotel accommodations, plus access to the Verizon viewing zone where you'll be taken care of like a first-round pick. Don't miss your chance to win the ultimate draft experience powered by Verizon. Hurry to select Wisconsin Verizon locations to enter by April 13th. No purchase necessary to enter. Must be legal U.S. resident of Wisconsin or Illinois. Age 21 years or older. Void where prohibited. For official rules and full details, visit www.espnwisconsincontest.com.
This is our crew.
Fly ball right field. Hit a ton. We're tied.
Milwaukee Brewers baseball is coming to ESPN Madison.
The 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out.
Every pitch, every dramatic moment, every
fly ball left field. Back. Still back. It is up and gone.
Madison's new home of the Milwaukee Brewers. 100.5 ESPN.
Unity Point Health Meritor is proud to be ESPN Madison's Mental Health Month sponsor this March. Explore resources at unitypoint.org/Madison. With the right support, every child and teen can find a path to better mental health.
To those who've ever dreamt of their perfect event, those dreams are worthy and they are possible. Hi, it's Jeffrey from Celebrations Entertainment. With hard work, passion, and great music, we will make your event dreams a reality. Every event is a labor of love, with one-on-one planning, customization, and flawless execution. Bringing your event to life is what we do. For a fun, memorable event, visit celebrationsentertainment.com. That's celebrationsentertainment.com.
Being a Pella consultant means helping people build their dreams.
Customers really appreciate just how prepared we are. All the samples, the videos, pictures.
We are with you from start to finish. You literally have a friend from beginning to end and beyond with your project.
Our Pella team simplifies the process, taking time to listen and find the right solution for you. And right now, get windows as low as $22 per month and doors as low as $89 per month. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Certain restrictions apply. It's 3/31/2025.
Look what we have here. It's the refreshing deliciousness of a Pepsi mini can. It's the perfect complement to any meal. The dash of indulgence your day was dreaming of. The sip that'll have you singing Pepsi.
Nope, not again, Steve. Let's take a cue from the Pepsi mini can and pack all that awesomeness you're feeling into a much smaller treat for everyone. Deal?
So, big awesomeness, smaller size. I think I've got just the thing.
Pepsi mini can. Mini can, big taste.
Hello, I'm John Hayes, the owner of Goodman's Jewelers. It's been my pleasure to serve this community from this incredible store for over 4 decades. We stand upon high standards and classic traditions, pillars like honesty and integrity. Stop into Goodman's Jewelers, the longest-standing full-service jewelry store in the heart of Madison at 220 State Street. Goodman's Jewelers, the diamond store of Madison since 1933.
The best is at Goodman's.
Get your team together. Softball is back for 2025. Hey, it's Jesse Nelson. Registration for Madison School and Community Recreation's Adult Summer Softball Leagues is now open. Men's, women's, and all-gender slow pitch and women's fast pitch leagues are forming now for the summer season. MSCR Softball Leagues offer fun for every level of player and welcome all participants. Spend your summer evenings with us on the Diamond. For more information and to register, go to mscrsportsleagues.org. That's mscrsportsleagues.org.
After a crash with a semi-truck, everything can change instantly. At Gruber Law Offices, we have the knowledge and experience to make sure you're protected. And we're here to help whenever you need us. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Swing and a miss! And the Dodgers are World Series champions!
It's opening day. The Detroit Tigers at the Los Angeles Dodgers. Coverage begins Thursday at 6:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN.
It's a beautiful day. Sky falls, you feel like it's a beautiful day.
Continuing with John Anderson as our cousin sub of the day. Cousin subs, we believe in better. And there's no better view than what John Anderson has out of his window right now. I can see our ping pong table. We're redoing our basement for all the gaming area for the girls. John, what's your view, pardon the pun, of this wide receiver group now? Because Bulaga and I, who is also a key contributor to the Homer Hour every weekday, 5 to 6 on 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee and 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam, we spent some time on that when he was cousin subbing as well. And look, I still believe in Jaden Reed and Dontavion Wicks. I don't know how good they're going to be, but Homer has a rule that you judge young players based on what they do when they play well, not what they do when they play poorly. We're kind of getting to the statute of limitations on that, though, 2 seasons in for those guys. So with no Watson for the first half of the season, with McCole Hardman, the one addition to the group as of now, with the draft still coming in less than a month, how do you view where they're at wide receiver, and are you concerned?
So I don't think Hardman's anything, right? I said that to you the other day. I don't know that he makes the roster. I'm willing to go with your point that with Watson out, maybe he gets to hang around for a while. I just don't know. I was thinking in the break, forget Dante Adams. Why have they not brought back Jamon Moore? Feel like maybe that would really be the difference maker you're looking for. My former Tiger. Listen, he's a really good guy other than the part where he can't catch. I mean, other than that, he's fantastic. Big body, everything you'd like in a guy, just other than the part he can't catch. So I don't know that I'm exactly in line with Homer, but follow me here. So, he always gives me the 7.5. And everybody talks about people in track and field. They talk about your PR. Right, but that's your best day. What you really want to know is who is that guy in your everyday, right? So I jumped 7.2.5 one time, but most of the time I was a 6'10" guy, right? I'm not a 7-foot high jumper. I had my day. So who are you every day? And so I tell you that same thing. I don't know that I look at their peak because everybody can have that day. What are they every day? And I think when used properly, their every day is pretty good. I don't know that we have the number one receiver. I'd like to have one. And I think you either draft that guy or is there someone in there that you can make a conscious effort? We're going to pump the ball to that guy. And that's what I wonder. I think Jaden Reed could kind of be that guy. I think Christian Watson should be that guy. Why they're not forcing it to him, I don't know if just the first drop in Minnesota has had such a chilling effect. But I would make that guy. I'd make that guy fearful to defenses, even if I have to force a few in there to let them know that every time he goes somewhere, you got to send a guy and maybe that safety over there with him all the time. But he's out. So I do think they're there. I said this whole operation, I'm willing to live with one more year to see if they can be matured and can be experienced and seasoned. I always think of those two as different things, experience and seasoning. I remember good old Carl Sunby, our driver's ed instructor, and we passed driver's ed. He goes, good, you have a lesson. You have your license. In 10 years, you'll know how to drive. Because experience is just like I play. Seasoning is you got to see everything. You got to play once in the snow. You got to play against an all-pro as opposed to a guy who might be a fit. Like seasoning takes longer than just running routes in practice or going after practice and having throwing camps and blah, blah, blah. So I'm willing to give them another season of seasoning and hope. And if not, then you're like, okay, we have a bunch of really good serviceable guys that can be 2 through 7 on the roster, 2 through 6. I don't care how many we're carrying, but I got to find an ace number one guy. And I think to his detriment, sometimes Jordan Love trying to spread it around, like, go ahead, find a guy and throw it to him. And by the way, if that needs to be Tucker Kraft, do that. Right? Find your guy. Find who is my guy that's going to make in when things go to hell, that's who I'm looking for, and make people, force defenses into knowing who that person is and making decisions on that guy, and then going around from and working off that. So I think more than anything, they need to identify somebody who in-house they think they can work with, because I don't know how many guys. There's a few, but I don't know where the Packers are drafting that you're going to find this guy that tilts the field immediately right off the bat. You said Davante Adams had to kind of grow into it.
Mm-hmm.
James Lofton was good year one, if you can remember back in the day. Some of these other guys, Chase's, Jefferson, those guys were good right off the bat. But I believe part of why the Packers, every time they say that, they haven't drafted a guy this high, blah, 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 part of that's the quarterback's fault. Like, if you can be really good, then you make all those other guys better, and you don't have to spend that kind of draft capital. How often did the Bears go like, we just need more weapons for Jay Cutler? No, you just needed a better quarterback than Jay Cutler, right? And I know his career got off track immediately with injuries, but they drafted the kid White out of West Virginia or whatever, and he was going to make them go. And all these times we're going to draft this guy, and we're going to make. If I have a really good quarterback, then no, I'm fine. I'm going to tell the guy, you're really good, and I'm relying on you to make everybody else around you better. I don't know that Pua Nakua is as good without Matthew Stafford around, right? I don't know that Bill Schrader signs with the Lions without Brett Favre around. Like, that's what I want from my quarterback, is to make all those guys much better, and then I can go draft me one more offensive lineman. And then he can keep you upright, and then you can go do your thing. So I think some point in the flow chart of importance, while it'd be great to have that guy, if my quarterback's really good, then I can get away with all those other people. So I think they're fine. I do wonder. Balaga tried to explain this to me, but he talks in that offensive line lingo, and I know you get that every day, so maybe you understand it way better. But we did seem to last year, now 2 years ago, have a lot of guys running free and open way more than we did last year. They seem to have a lot of guys at their elbow last year. Mm-hmm. And Balaga tried to explain to me the inside run game or whatever that Josh Jacobs did, that somehow the play action wasn't as effective and blah, 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 blah.
It's not wrong.
I just know there were not a lot of open windows that were gigantic that Love seemed to throw in his first year.
Well, and that's something that I asked LaFleur that flat out in the press conference the day after the loss in Philadelphia, and we spent a lot of time talking play action, and, he got a little annoyed. Well, how do you guys define play action? Well, I define play action not as just a token, I'm pretending to sort of hand the ball off with my offhand that the ball's not even in. I think it's, it's like I don't know how to define it, but I know it when I see it, the old saying goes, right?
Sure.
And when the offensive linemen are not immediately dropping into their pass set, that helps me sell the fact that you're maybe running the football. So even though he got into the minutia of it, ultimately the question was exactly what you just said, and it's what I asked him. Matt, I remember when he first got here, guys running around wide open all the time. And frankly, it's because I covered the Mike McCarthy years where a lot of times Aaron Rodgers was throwing balls very accurately into tight windows. And when Matt LaFleur used the phrase late last season that guys need to win their one-on-one matchups, I had flashbacks because that's what Mike McCarthy used to always say. The whole idea was, we got 4 wide receivers, you don't have 4 corners that can cover them, and my guy's going to find the one that's open. And open enough for him to fit it in a window. But, I tell this story all the time, but I was in the wide receiver area of the locker room back when they were all grouped by position. It was 2018. The Packers had not yet fired McCarthy. It was early in the season, and the Vikings had played the Rams on Thursday Night Football. So we were in the locker room again on Friday. And it was a game in which Jared Goff and Sean McVay lit them up. It was one of those games that you're like, oh, my God, I can't believe what these guys are doing offensively. It was like basically the coming out party of this offense. And I was standing with Cobb, Davante Adams, and Rodgers, and we were all talking about that game. And they were just awestruck at how open the receivers were. And I filed that away thinking, this is going to be the end of Mike McCarthy. they're going to hire a guy who runs this offense. And lo and behold, that's exactly what they did. And again, when he got here, 19, there was a adjustment period, but 20 and 21, dudes were open all the time. There were instances where when you looked on TV and the ball was thrown, the only person in the frame was the Packers player catching it.
Yes.
And that was not the case last season. And so I'm curious how Matt LaFleur is spending his offseason. He's going to be at the NFL meetings this week. I know our buddy Rob Domofsky and Wes Hodkowitz are going to be down there. So I'm eager to hear what he has to say. They've cut the breakfasts from an hour to a half hour. Apparently the coaches didn't want to spend an entire hour with us the way they used to when I would go. And Mike McCarthy would never get to eat. He would just have his coffee, and the rest of us would be chowing down on our free high-end hotel food, asking him questions and egg falling.
Was that at the Biltmore in Phoenix? Is that where they used to go for that thing?
So they rotate it West Coast, East Coast every year. So this year I think it's in Palm Beach. But it's either I think they're at the Breakers, which I hated going to that. I loved it because Paul and the girls would go, and then they would go. It would be like a spring break vacation for them. But I hate those hoity-toity hotel places. Like, I feel like I don't like wealthy, snobby people. And there's the people that are not from the NFL that stay there are not necessarily my kind of folks. But what was weird was that it's this confluence of, slobby beat writers like me, and then billionaire owners. I always love to tell the story about how Paula and Maddie came down. We decided to bring – Maddie was 9 weeks old. We went to the NFL meetings. The two of us are completely overwhelmed as parents, and there's this gathering that they do the first night there, and it's everyone that's there. It's the media, it's the coaches and GMs, and it's owners. And here Paula and I are trying to figure out how are we going to eat. And this lovely older woman says, I'll hold your baby so you guys can eat. And it was Virginia McCaskey. And she held Maddie, the daughter of George Papa Bear Hallis, holding Maddie while we both ate so we could eat in peace for a little while with our 9-week-old baby. But my point is that this is obviously another milepost in the offseason where the general manager talks, the team president talks, and the coach talks. And, I'd like to get back to doing that someday, but I'm not going to be there this week. But that's one of the questions I have for Matt LaFleur. What have you done this offseason to get back to looking like – how do you meld everything that Josh Jacobs does well with the importance of your play-action game? And can you do that with the scheme that Josh Jacobs runs best in? Or does Josh Jacobs have to run effectively in a different style of run scheme a little bit so you can be better in the play-action game? And
Which of those is easy to change? Which of those is easy to change?
Yeah, I would love to ask him that too, right? I mean, you could get, again, bogged down with Bulaga with duo and outside and inside zone and all that stuff. And look, I said this on our last Green Bay game day pregame, but you and him were like our McKinney and Jacobs. Like, I cannot tell you how much I love having you guys as teammates. Bulaga knows so much football, and he does a pretty good job, all things considered, of dumbing it down for dimwits like us. But the stuff he can and the knowledge he brings is ridiculous. But that's a great question because they do clearly, even for someone like me who doesn't understand the game at his level, the run blocking scheme, you can see it's different than what it was with Aaron Jones because he's a different player. But the law of unintended consequences tells me that changing that was great for Josh Jacobs, not as great for creating open wide receivers. So I'm eager to see what Matt LaFleur has done with that and what he's going to do with that moving forward. But it is part of their offseason. And you did say something else that I want to get into just briefly coming up, and that is you mentioned Tucker Kraft. And for all the great things that we can say that these wide receivers are capable of, I'm Team John Anderson on that. I think he is, if we're going to, and this is an unfair comp, but it is possible to be a great quarterback like Patrick Mahomes and have a revolving cast of wide receivers, but you've got Kelsey. And I'm not saying that those two are anywhere near that level, but that is the blueprint that they could follow offensively. And then you get Luke Musgrave going, you get Chipotle Ben Sims going, and then you're really onto something. More with John Anderson coming up. Jesse, we're giving away more Thanalysis tickets?
You bet. Coming up Saturday night, Potawatomi, place to be. We want people there. Yeah.
So again, it is Saturday night. I think I may have got my dates mixed up earlier in the week. It is Saturday night, and right now you can win tickets to Gruber Law Office's Thanalysis Live. It's back, and now is your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets courtesy of McDonald's. Caller number 4. Right now to 844-770-3776, 844-770-3776. Caller 4 wins 4 tickets to Thanalysis Live. That is Saturday night at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Join Thanasis for a live show that's going to entertain fans like none other. Last year, obviously, his brother, I don't know if you've heard of him, Giannis, was there, and so was Stephen A. Smith of ESPN, so you never know what Thanalysis might bring in 2025. And if you don't win tickets now, you can still get your tickets to Gruber Law Office's Thanalysis Live by going to ESPN Milwaukee and ESPN Madison's social media channels to find out more about the event and to get tickets. Excitement and entertainment you can't get anywhere else. It's Gruber Law Office's Thanalysis Live, presented by Potawatomi Casino Hotel and Carbless, also supported by the Prisoner Wine Company and McDonald's. More with John Anderson, our cousin sub of the day. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Welcome to the 2025 NFL Draft on ESPN Radio.
The NFL Draft is now underway.
Live from historic Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
With the first pick.
Thursday, April 24th on ESPN Radio, ESPN, and on ABC.
Mark Tauscher here for one of my favorite places, Pizza Hut. From settling in at the opening tip to an extra slice during the 7th inning stretch, make the delicious options from Pizza Hut the perfect addition to any game day this time of year. Having the whole crew over to your place for the night, or getting home just in time on your own to see your team in action. Well, either way, Pizza Hut has you covered. Order the original stuffed crust pizza, the OG, the GOAT, the one and only. Others try to copy, but none are like Pizza Hut. Take advantage of this championship deal right now at Pizza Hut. You can get a large 3-topping stuffed crust pizza for just $11.99. Well, you know I've loved Pizza Hut going back to the days when I was a kid participating in their legendary Book It program. It was great then, and it's great making new memories with my family now. Hurry in or order online today at pizzahut.com. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
You, rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Pablo Iglesias.
This Badger Minute brought to you by your Badgerland Chevy dealers, proud supporters of Badger Athletics. Go to BadgerlandChevy.com. A well-oiled machine. Wisconsin women's hockey now 8 titles strong after Sunday's roller coaster win over Ohio State. 38-1-2 their final record, and a list of accomplishments that followed. Mark Johnson, National Coach of the Year. Ava McNaughton, Goalie of the Year. And Casey O'Brien, National Player of the Year. O'Brien's words on their strong chemistry.
We're the deepest team that I've ever been on. If you're having a bad day, or if the first line or whoever it is having a bad day, that the next line is going to step up. It's a really special thing, and most teams don't have that. So for us to be able to have that, especially going into high pressure games like the national championship, is insane.
Right now at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, get windows as low as $22 per month and doors as low as $89 per month. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Hi, this is Brian Posick, and I can't wait for Mark Osiki's Casting for Kids Fishing Tournament coming up Saturday, May 17th on the Madison Chain of Lakes. It's a great time, great people, all for a great cause. There's lunch, dinner, raffles, and auctions, all to support the American Family Children's Hospital, UW Carbone Cancer Center. Plus a chance to win an Alumacraft fishing boat from Don's Marine. Join us on the water May 17th. Donate or partner with us. Learn more and register at castingforkids.org. That's casting4kids.org.
Condon Jewelers, the jeweler on the east side, the jeweler on your side. When you see Diamond Jim, you can count on him to be on your side. Selection beyond compare with on-site repair, so you can wear your jewelry with pride. Condon Jewelers, the jeweler on the east side, the jeweler on your side.
Hi, Drew and Jonathan Scott here, reminding you that a lot of life's firsts are better with help from American Family Insurance. Like your first home expansion, or your first big lightning strike. There's a first for everything. Get the right home policy at the right price with the right help from American Family's agents. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Major League Baseball's opening weekend on ESPN Radio. The defending NL Central champion Milwaukee Brewers begin the season in the Bronx against Aaron Judge and the defending American League champion New York Yankees.
I'm looking forward to being back here. It's time to roll.
Look out, Aaron Judge.
It's opening weekend. The Brewers at the Yankees.
Thursday on Madison's new home of the Milwaukee Brewers, 100.5 ESPN.
Hey, it's Hunter Vaughn. ESPN Madison and Zimbrick Honda are celebrating the area's best high school sports stories with the Game Changers of the Month. Follow ESPN Madison on social media to see teams making an impact in their community. Nominate your local team today at ESPNMadisonGameChangers.com.
Wilde and Tausch on 100.5 ESPN is brought to you by Everlight Solar. Save money, save the planet. Everlight Solar.
John Anderson, having worked with Homer every Tuesday on the Homer Hour, is familiar with bad clock management, so he's not fazed by the fact that it's already 10 o'clock. We haven't started the 10 o'clock hour yet. So I want to get into this, though, because I can see that this has lit a bit of a fire in the YouTube comments where you can join the conversation if you subscribe. You can be part of the chat. Tausch claims he's subscribed. He's not. He can't be, because otherwise he'd have access to the chat. That's how that works. But I'm working on this story for Channel 3000 today, and it's basically about the idea that maybe the drought can be over, and the removal of, while certainly not removed from the history of the team, he will no longer be the answer to a trivia question, and that is Javon Walker, who is the last first-round pick at wide receiver the Packers exercised in 2002, when Mike Sherman was the dual head coach and GM. He was a pretty darn good football player, and then he held out, and then he tore his ACL, and then he got traded to Denver. It did not end very well for him in Green Bay, but that was the last time the Packers picked a wide receiver in the first round, and I am very curious if that streak will end anytime soon, and if that could be this year. And I'll tell you why I think there's a chance, but it may not be able to come to fruition because of where the Packers are picking. We'll get to that at the top of the 10 o'clock hour. John, this has been your best segment so far. I'm glad I gave you such an opportunity to speak. I want to remind you, I tell you this all the time, I hope you never have to make the call. That means you've never been seriously injured in an accident, so you never need Gruber Law Offices. But if you do, there is only one call to make. One call, that's all. Gruber Law Offices, 414-276-6666, 414-276-6666. Go to the website, gruber-law.com, to find out more. The 10 o'clock hour of Wilde and Tausch starts in 2 minutes with John Anderson as our cousin sub of the day. Stick around.
Don't go anywhere. Another hour of Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, is coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin, the ESPN app, and Wisconsin On Demand.
ESPN Wisconsin's Mark Tauscher here for Kohler Services. Well, if you've been putting off your bath or shower remodel, now is the time to turn to Kohler Service. Family owned for 150 years, Kohler is your Wisconsin manufacturer providing care for life. And this month only, get $1,000 off your Lugstone shower remodel and no payment financing until 2026. Visit KohlerServicesWI.com to request your free quote with fast professional installation always included. Again, that's KohlerServicesWI.com.
Hey, it's Kelly Sheffield, Wisconsin Badgers volleyball head coach. You're listening to 100.5 ESPN WTLX Monona, Madison, a good Karma Brands radio station.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio, this is your Metro Kia of Madison Sports Center.
Good morning, Madison and streamers everywhere. I'm Jesse Nelson, Sports Center, brought to you by Goodman's Jewelers, the diamond store of Madison for generations. Check them out, 220 State Street, and online at goodmansjewelers.com. Milwaukee Bucks wrapping up their West Coast road trip tonight in Denver, visiting Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets. Tip time set for 8 o'clock. Pre-game coverage starts at 7:30 right here on Madison's home of the Bucks, 100.5 ESPN. Milwaukee listed as a 6-point underdog for tonight's contest, according to ESPN Bet. Check out the Eastern Conference playoff picture with just a couple of weeks left in the NBA's regular season. The Bucks currently in the 5th position, tied with the Detroit Pistons for that number 5 spot. 2 spots behind, or 2 games, I should say, behind the Indiana Pacers in the 4th position right now. So 3 teams in the NBA's Eastern Conference Central Division, all battling for positioning for spots 4, 5, and 6 in the East. Again, Bucks Nuggets tonight, 8 o'clock here on Madison's home of the Bucks, 100.5 ESPN. Football, 29 days until round 1 of the 2025 NFL Draft in Green Bay. Check out where the Packers' free agency class this offseason ranks, according to ESPN's Ben Solak, among all 32 NFL teams.
Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealer. Stop into Metro Kia on the east side of Madison or metrokiaofmadison.com.
The 10 o'clock hour of Wilde and Tausch begins now. The Virginia McCaskey story, very popular with the folks in the YouTube comments, I'm noticing. Virginia McCaskey did have a good line when she handed Maddie back to us. She said, well, she's got to be a Bears fan now. To which I wanted to say, yeah, well, she's got a sports writer for a dad, so she's probably not going to be a fan of anything.
Well, I'm not a fan. I don't know if you know Virginia.
I would have not done that to Virginia, but it is one of my favorite stories. And speaking of not being a fan, Jesse's got an interesting idea that I want to get to coming up next about optimism about teams right now in Wisconsin sports. So we'll get to that coming up. But I want to delve into, John, this wide receiver first-round pick thing. And I always hated it because, you know, announcers loved to bring up during the Rodgers era, he's never had a first-round wide receiver. Yeah, but he had a hell of a lot of really good second-round wide receivers, and it didn't seem to ruin Rodgers' career that he didn't have a first-round pick to throw to.
Managed to overcome.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, exactly. And so I'm curious, is this something that, you know, it's not like Pete Rose or Joe DiMaggio or Paul Molitor's hitting streaks, but like it's bound to end sooner or later. There's the kid out of Arizona whose name I try very hard not to butcher, and you, having done SportsCenter, you can help me with my pronunciations. Tataroa McMillan, who is the wide receiver from Arizona. And again, this may be nothing because Goody goes to a lot of pro days. He was at Texas's pro day yesterday, but he was the only GM at the Arizona pro day, according to reports. Does that mean something? Does it mean nothing? Who knows? But there aren't a whole lot of wide receivers in this class. This is a lesser wide receiver class than past drafts. What would it say if Goody, after all these years, went wide receiver in the first round, especially knowing the other needs this team has on the defensive line and at corner, et cetera? What would it tell you, John?
That he was saving it for the home crowd and he didn't want to spend it in Kansas City or Detroit. Like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it for a home game.
Yeah. Right.
Like the place would explode, wouldn't it? Like the roof would come off the dump, even though it's already going to come off the place. I don't know that they still, for all their success, they still draft deep. And I don't know if that guy is, they go through, right? And all our draft experts, which, by the way, I think for the most part are pretty good at identifying, just here are the measurables that make a guy, first round worthy. And they never have 32 guys. They have like 15, maybe 12. You think about guys that draft, you can pick the last guy, you're 32nd. Back in Lombardi's time, back before Big Expansion, like that's a third round pick guy, right? So we kind of we make this expectation that, oh, you're a first round guy. Well, yeah, but I don't know that by the time I get into the back half of the 20s, 24 and back, to me, those are kind of second round guys. That just because of the nature of number of franchises now become first round picks and they come with first round expectations. So I don't know that deep you can find the guy that you're looking for because somebody else is going to be a reach, and you just don't want to be you don't want to be the team that reaches in the draft. And if that case is, I still think that I would always, even if I'm 20, if I'm going to draft a wide receiver, then I have to be convinced on my draft board there's not a cornerback I like better, an edge rusher I like better, or an offensive lineman. Because if there is, I'm taking those three people every time. And the guy, then I'm going to kick the wide receiver position. I'm going to kick that can down the road again. Because if there's anybody on my board that is in one of those three, they're more important. And my quarterback's good, and he's going to make a difference with I'm going to trust that guy's making the guys on the outside better. I don't know that we've seen that yet from Love. I think maybe that's the biggest thing is in that development is he didn't develop, and because of that, they couldn't develop. I think there's not a chicken and egg. I think there's clearly the chicken, and so I think that was part of it. And until he can be a full-on NFL quarterback, and we're going to complete 65% of your passes because that's the job anymore. 52 doesn't get it done, Fran Tarkington, because your wide receivers aren't getting mauled on the outside. Until he gets better, I don't know that those other guys, we see the development we want from them. It would be against type from Goody. It'd be, unless you get one of these guys that's spectacular, right? You talk about Walker. He had one great year. His second year was pretty good. Second year was pretty good, but not, and then beyond that, the other two guys they drafted in front of him were Hall of Famers. But, look where they were to pick Sharp and Lofton, 6th and 7th.
Right.
It's what was it? Mike Tomlin, they had a great shot of him one time in just one of these NFL films when the big Ohio State defensive lineman was playing for Washington. Chase, come on, he's bounced around. Chase Young. And they catch Tomlin talking to him after the game. He goes, I hope we never are bad enough to be in position to draft a guy like you. Yeah. And I think that's where the Packers are. I hope they're never in a bad enough position where they can draft Justin Jefferson up top. I'm willing to kind of work around that. Maybe somebody comes through. I think T. Higgins not coming available in free agency might have messed up their plans a little bit. None of those guys we all talked about would have been great, ever made it to the market. But if you can't get a shot at a top 10 guy in a top 10 pick, I don't know that I want to reach. I'll still take those other positions ahead of them. So in that regard, I'm just not frustrated by Goody not doing that. I'm okay with that. Or by the way, or the guy in front of him, or the guy in front of him.
So I want to get back to this, but I do want to point this out because Mel Kiper is the official draft expert of Wilde and Tausch, because he had the usual co-host of this show pegged as a 6th-round pick, and then Tausch claimed that he wasn't even in Mel's book, and it led to one of the epic voicemails ever left in the history of the show.
Really?
Yes, he was.
We'll get it in a minute. We'll get it for you.
We've got to play that at some point. But Mel Kiper has McMillan going 20th in his latest mock draft to the Denver Broncos, and at number 23, the Green Bay Packers select out of Ohio State wide receiver Emeka Egbuka.
Egbuka, yeah. He's good.
Who I would say that it would appear that wide receivers from Ohio State seem to fare fairly well in the National Football League at this point. Also, LSU wide receivers seem to do pretty well. So if that happens, it will make things interesting. I want to get back to a point you made before we move forward. And that was about Jordan Love and not taking the step that maybe many of us expected, and how that influenced how big of a step or lack thereof the wide receivers took. Tausch and I have acknowledged this, and I was a little more skeptical, but even I came around during the second half of 2023. We crowned him prematurely. He got the contract. He played through injury last year. That was certainly a factor in his performance. But if anybody listens to the show, they've heard us talk about this repeatedly. We still believe Jordan Love is a good quarterback with the makings of being a very, very good quarterback. But this is a pivotal year for him. Year 3 as a starter. Aaron Rodgers went to a Super Bowl and won it in year 3 as a starter. How do you view where Love is at currently, and how do you view this season for him in his development, and how you'll view him as a quarterback?
Yeah, I think that's the entirety of it. Like, he has to make another step where you're like, okay, here's our guy who is a very good. He is a good quarterback. Is he the difference maker that we thought? And I wasn't hugely disappointed in the contract. That is sort of the pay rate anymore.
Yep.
For that position, right? So we can go all and go, oh my God, he's making gobs of guys. Right. But that's just sort of what the position now commands. And in this case, he has unbelievable leverage. So you can tack on an extra $10 million. But, so I'm not, and the worst part is anytime a guy like, okay, now I got to play like $50 million instead of just play like a really good NFL quarterback. I don't care how much you make. The football, the ball you're throwing does not know how much you're making. It just is a football, right? I always say that. Golf balls have no idea that Tiger Wood's hitting them or I'm hitting them until after they've actually been hit. Then it comes
the sand wedge breaks. Yeah.
Then it comes into clear relief exactly who might have been in control of that whole thing. But he has to be better, or the Packers now really do have a dilemma. They're like, okay, what are we doing? Do we give him another year? What is now all of a sudden you're looking at the out costs, right? You're looking at what if that doesn't happen. But then some of that has to be on LaFleur and that group. At some point, then this is on you and your coaching and your development, because you've told us you believe. You said it early on, right? You watched in the first year or two, and you're like, okay, I don't know that this is the answer, right? I think you said that. I heard you say
many
that before.
Times. And by the way, I wasn't the only one.
Right. So now they've brought him to a point, I guess. Clearly, they've coached him to a point. Can you coach the rest of – and I think some of it is not coaching him up. It's coaching some things out of him, if that makes sense, right? Let's coach some of the bad decisions out of you. Let's coach kind of holding the ball a bit too long out of you. How about it's the old John Gruden? Let's take a profit when it's there on some of these things, which maybe open up other stuff. So I think some of the things they need to do is coach a few things out of him that still seem to be young quarterback-ish kind of things. I think that's key. And then there are times I think he should I don't know that he just didn't look like he played terribly free or with this great abandon that you saw with some other things, and that's one of the, like anybody, when you start thinking over all of this stuff instead of just kind of letting it go, that makes a huge difference, right? The difference between being kind of free or being mechanical, and you can see the guy thinking through all the stuff when it goes through. But and then some things are simple. There are things that are correct. Like sometimes his footwork's terrible. Quit throwing it off your back foot and just floating it up there. I get that you've got a great arm, but go ahead and plant your feet once in a while. That helps the ball go in the direction you need it to go. So there are a lot of things that I watch, and I think, okay, most of those are pretty correctable with a good amount of coaching. But at some point, you got to show that you have this, and maybe that's where we've not fooled ourselves, but that's where watching Aaron for many years, watching Brett Favre for many years, watching all those guys, it's so much of the just instinctual, innate stuff that they had that you're like, okay, well, for all the coaching in the world, you can't coach that. And I haven't seen a ton of those plays from him yet, where I just want to go, okay, that's where the guy is just, he's a superior athlete, or he just gets the position. And that came because he just, he knew instinctually what to do. And so some combination of what they need to improve, what they need to get out of his game. And then some of that is just play, so I can see if you have some natural, some instincts for the position that I think everybody that coached him back in college and stuff thought he had, right? They kept putting him in the scout team and he kept beating the starters. And they went, okay, this guy's got some of that it for whatever it is. I need to see some of the it with him. But it's a huge year. It's a huge year because otherwise, like I said, now you're thinking, okay, do we have the right decision? If we're thinking about where do we get out of it, now it changes all of your draft looking ahead. There's just so much is tied to this guy. So you say all that and you're like, now just go out there and don't feel any of that. Just play.
Right. Right. And I give him plenty of benefit of the doubt. I don't think that he will have a bad year and they will be thinking that way. I am curious. The question for me is not whether he'll make a jump. It will be how big of a jump is it going to be, and will it be big enough where you start thinking, okay, this guy is one of the top 5, top 10 quarterbacks in the league. I know what the QBR says. I know all those other things. If he stays healthy, I am very intrigued to see what this season is going to look like for him. All right, I do want to play Mel Kiper for you. We'll get to Jesse's optimism question a little bit later in the show, but I do want to play that because I think John Anderson will enjoy it. Quite frankly, I think back to those This Is SportsCenter commercials. It's got that kind of a vibe to it.
It never gets old listening to it. Never.
So we will play that for John coming up. Want to remind you, opening day is almost here. It's time to get those tailgate grills out and grab your groceries. Opening day in Milwaukee is almost here. It's next Monday. The unofficial start to summer happens with the Brewers home opener, and ESPN Wisconsin will be all over it. Sponsored by Carbless, ready-to-drink cocktails, live shows from inside the ballpark, special guests all day, and an unmatched excitement for the crew as ESPN Wisconsin will carry every pitch of the home opener. Opening day on ESPN Wisconsin, sponsored by Carbless. Grab a pack today and be the MVP of your tailgate. Happy baseball season! Milwaukee and Madison and everyone else will be tuned in on Monday. More with John Anderson. It's Wilde and Tausch.
This is Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella today, 855-PELLA-WI, and online at PellaWI.com/radio.
When it comes to security for your home and family, you want a winner, and we found one when we placed our trust with J&K Security Solutions. This is Greg Gard. Kim and Jeff hit the game-winning shot for us with the Control 4 home technology system. Home or away, from our smartphones, we can open the garage door, dim the lights, turn on the TV, as well as arm the security system. That's convenience as well as peace of mind. Let J&K Security Solutions do for your home or business like they've done for us. Call 255-5799 or online at jksecurity.com.
Major League Baseball's opening weekend on ESPN Radio. The defending NL Central champion Milwaukee Brewers begin the season in the Bronx against Aaron Judge and the defending American League champion New York Yankees.
I'm looking forward to being back here. It's time to roll.
Look out, Aaron Judge.
It's opening weekend. The Brewers at the Yankees.
Thursday on Madison's new home of the Milwaukee Brewers, 100.5 ESPN.
Look what we have here.
It's the refreshing deliciousness of a Pepsi mini can. It's the perfect complement to any meal. The dash of indulgence your day was dreaming of. The sip that'll have you singing Pepsi.
Nope, not again, Steve. Let's take a cue from the Pepsi mini can and pack all that awesomeness you're feeling into a much smaller treat for everyone. Deal?
So, big awesomeness, smaller size. I think I've got just the thing.
Pepsi mini can. Mini can, big taste.
Mark Tauscher here to tell you a little bit more about Everlight Solar. We all know that electricity costs are on the rise. That's why you need to talk to my friends over at Everlight Solar. Their local team here in Madison is here to keep it simple. From your no-cost consultation to solar panel installation, the team at Everlight Solar will be with you every step of the way. Not only will they help you save money, but by switching to solar, you're also helping save the planet. Everlight Solar, a proud partner of Wisconsin Athletics. Check them out at everlightsolar.com.
The area's best high school sports coverage is Zimbrick Honda's presentation of Prep Mania.
Relive every high-flying dunk
And a one-hand slam.
and fantastic finish
We are going to overtime, folks.
from the boys' state basketball tournament.
Back-to-back state championships for the Wisconsin Lutheran Vikings.
Download all 5 state championship games on Wisconsin On Demand or wherever you get your podcasts.
Matt Hamilton here. As a proud Wisconsinite, I'm all about supporting local. And there's nothing more local than Metcalf's Market. Metcalf's Rewards is your key to incredible savings. With thousands of coupons available every week, loyal members enjoy special pricing on select sale items. Plus, it's free to join. And when you sign up in-store using your phone number, new members instantly receive 500 points, equivalent to $5 off your purchase. Visit Metcalf's Market in Hilldale, near Westtown Mall, or in Wauwatosa today. And start saving with Metcalf's Rewards. Metcalf's Market. Bring local home.
They did it again. For the 5th time, Siding Unlimited, the 30-year-old Wisconsin family-owned company, is the Pella Window and Door Company's Platinum Premier Certified Contractor of the Year in the whole USA. Siding Unlimited is here in Madison with a dynamic outside-in showroom. See Siding Unlimited's window, door, roofing, deck, and other great outside stuff inside at 2018 South Stoughton Road, south of Buckeye. See Siding Unlimited's frequent Instagram posts or go to sidingunlimited.com.
With the next pick in the big draft, Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Dane County selects you. As we count down to the draft in Green Bay, Big Brothers and Big Sisters is also counting on you to help meet the growing demand of mentorship in our community. Become a role model, a motivator, a supporter, a positive influence. Empower the young people in our community to create a brighter future for all. Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Dane County presents the Big Draft in partnership with the NFL Inspire Change. Learn how to get involved at bbbsmadison.org.
This is Madison's new home of Milwaukee Brewers baseball.
Churio, a high fly ball. Back, track, bye, baseball!
100.5 ESPN, your new home of the Milwaukee Brewers.
To talk to Uncle Homer, scheduled to appear next, and it's going to confuse him when we get to him quasi on time. So let's waste a little bit of time before we do that by playing for you the epic voicemail left by Mel Kiper after Tausch alleged that he was left out of Mel Kiper's annual draft preview book, which, by the way, Jen Latta of Jen, Gabe, and Shuey then outbid me on eBay for a collection of Mel books, including the 2000 draft preview, in which Tausch was indeed listed and projected as a 6th-round pick. Mel Kiper picked him higher than the Packers did. They got him in the 7th round. And they got a Packers Hall of Famer for a bargain price in the draft. But here is how Mel Kiper handled the erroneous information that Tausch had shared about his scouting report on him.
Yeah, this is for Mark Tausch, or Tausch, as they say, who has been talking about Mel Kiper never had me in the book. He forgot about me, didn't know who I was, didn't give me anything, gave me no love. Mark, I wrote you up, I scouted you, I gave you a 6th-round grade. Now you're destroying my credibility with all these negative comments and make people think I had no clue who you were, that you even played college football, that I was completely out to lunch. This negativity's got to stop. I gave you a write-up. You were ranked. You were rated as a 6th-round pick. Last time I checked, you went in the 7th round, so I kind of overrated you with the 6th-round grade, but I did write you up in the book in 2000. So stop, please, with the negativity. You are trying to destroy my career of 46 years, and I don't appreciate it.
You are trying to destroy my career of 46 years, I think is my
Hard to
favorite
believe a
part of it.
6th-round guy could take you down after 46 years.
That's the power of Tausch.
Negativity's got to stop.
Todd. So you obviously worked with Mel at ESPN for a long time. We so thoroughly enjoy his annual visits. He really his inaccurate portrayal of Tausch as a 6th-round pick notwithstanding. Is it crazy to you to see the draft industrial complex that currently exists? Because he and Joel Buxbaum were the trailblazers. Yeah.
In St. Louis. And we used to listen to Joel Bushbaum in college because he was on St. Louis radio at night. And people, it became sort of whatever parlor game that they call and see if they could figure out somebody he didn't know. Right. So you're like, there's a punter at UW River Falls, and this guy has got and he would just go through and he would recite everything about the guy, how many touchbacks he had, average return yards, net. And so he was amazing. So he was really kind of the first guy, and Mel will even say that was the guy that sparked it. But it is amazing to me, because at first I used to always say it's amazing the cottage industry that developed from that. And like you said, now it is beyond a cottage industry. It is an industrial complex. It is a campus full of stuff and people, and how even after they've been, look at Todd Mokshay, who was with us for a while, and then as soon as he left, for whatever reason, when we were thinning the herd or culling the chickens, like he's still got cachet. People bring him in. And heck, who's the guy at the NFL Network? They ended up parlaying that into a job with Gruden's right-hand man with the Raiders.
Mike Mayock. Yep.
Mike Mayock. So these guys know stuff, but it's just like the draft itself. How when they said to Pete Rozelle, "Hey, we'd like to show you reading the cards at the podium," and he thought that was just the dumbest thing ever.
Yep.
And Chet Simmons said that to him, and now look at it. And so much like Mel, the draft itself, both those things have kind of grown up in each other. And imagine what your show would be for 3 hours if you didn't have the draft speculation. I remember when every once in a while, like at WBAY would maybe break in the Packers. I think the first one I remember them breaking in was when they drafted Ron Holstrom. And then, after that, you kind of bottom line, they run a crawl about who the Packers had picked, and to see where it is now is the whole thing, whether it's just Mel or the draft itself, that has become this amazing thing. And it's still just dudes reading names off cards. That's all it is. It's still dudes naming, right? But at this day and age and this kind of money, even though they do, like, you can't afford to screw those things up, which is, how many guys, if you get drafted, you make the roster. You got to be really bad not to make the roster. Because of the way the cap works and everything else anymore. So it is amazing. My favorite thing about Mel in all of this is when he'll go, he's kind of approximates things. Like if you would say, "How much do you weigh, Anderson?" You'd be like, "Oh, well, I'm 6'3", 210. And Mel is always, his approximations are, he's right around 6'2 3/4. He's right around 6'2 7/8, and he's right around 212. Mel, no one is right around 212. You can be right around 210 or 215, but he'll always, right? Have you ever listened to him? He's always, he's right around, and then he gives you this fraction. I'm like, no one is right around 6'2 7/8. But that's always my favorite thing is when his approximations are just down to the eighth of an inch or down to he goes 212, 213, just depends on what he ate for breakfast. But that's his approximation of guys.
Yeah, he is one of one. There's no doubt about that. Speaking of people who are one of one, you deal with them every Tuesday. I deal with them Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, but they only add up to 3/4 of a homer hour. So I don't get him for a full hour like you do on Tuesdays, or Bulaga gets him on Mondays and Thursdays. So Steve the Homer True joins us next after Tausch tells us about UW Credit Union. Stick around with John Anderson as our cousin sub of the day. It's Wilde and Tausch.
UW Credit Union member Mark Tauscher here. For every stage of life, UW Credit Union is here for every you. Proudly serving Wisconsin for over 90 years, they'll help you reach your financial goals. And if you're like me, you've always got cheddar on the mind. UW Credit Union can help with no monthly fee checking and great rates that let you keep more of your cheese. And when you're at that stage of life where you're ready to purchase a new home, UW Credit Union is your location for home loans. With UW Credit Union's local experts, a great loan at a great rate is never far from home. Join today at uwcu.org. That's uwcu.org. Insured by NCUA. Terms and conditions apply.
This is Wilde and Tausch, driven by Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie on 100.5 ESPN. See their full inventory at ZimbrickChevrolet.com.
Being a Pella consultant means helping people build their dreams.
Customers really appreciate just how prepared we are. All the samples, the videos, pictures.
We are with you from start to finish. You literally have a friend from beginning to end and beyond with your project.
Our Pella team simplifies the process, taking time to listen and find the right solution for you. And right now, get windows as low as $22 per month and doors as low as $89 per month. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Certain restrictions apply. It's 3/31/2025.
When you're in the right place at the right time, things get done. The important things, like knowing what you need and how it all works. Talking truck. Fixing it right the first time. At Zimbrick Chevrolet, our people get it done right and now. That's how you know you're in the right place at the right time. And you'll never overpay at Zimbrick Chevrolet.
Football fans, Verizon is giving you the chance to win the ultimate draft experience with the Road to the Draft sweepstakes. 10 lucky winners will win tickets to the first day of the 2025 draft in Green Bay, including round-trip car service from Milwaukee, hotel accommodations, plus access to the Verizon viewing zone. Don't miss your chance to win the ultimate draft experience powered by Verizon. Hurry to select Wisconsin Verizon locations to enter by April 13th. No purchase necessary to enter. Must be legal U.S. resident of Wisconsin or Illinois, age 21 years or older to enter. Void where prohibited. For official rules and full details, visit www.espnwisconsincontest.com.
Since 1956, Holman Lindsay Paints has been making paint in Wisconsin for Wisconsin. Because of their commitment to making great paint for Wisconsinites, Holman Lindsay has grown over the years to 26 locations in this great state. Headquarters in Sun Prairie with a state-of-the-art facility, Holman Lindsay has the paint you need to make your job better. From do-it-yourself to professional, Holman Lindsay has paint for everyone. Visit one of their local locations today in Madison, Sun Prairie, Middleton, and Janesville.
Mark Tauscher here for Chalmers Jewelers. I've been a big fan of Scott, Garrett, and the whole team at Chalmers Jewelers for years now. I go there, my friends go there, and most importantly, my wife loves it whenever I get her something from Chalmers Jewelers. It's my go-to spot for birthdays, anniversaries, and any special occasion. For quality jewelry and a great experience, choose Chalmers Jewelers, the place to go for that perfect gift. Stop at Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton and Madison.
Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton
and Madison.
Is it Waukesha or Waukesha? Brat or Brat? Is it ever okay to vacation in Minnesota? Wisconsinites can't agree on everything, but we can agree getting paid earlier is better. That's why UW Credit Union is making members direct deposits available up to 2 days earlier. Early payday at UW Credit Union. Join today. Federally insured by NCUA. Visit uwcu.org for details.
Every event tells a story, from the first impression to the final moments. Have someone guide your guests through every chapter the way you want the story told. Hi, it's Jeffrey from Celebrations Entertainment. With a strong presence, great voices, and an award-winning team, trust us to guide, direct, and inform your guests through all the different chapters of the day. For fun, memorable entertainment for any event, please visit us at celebrationsentertainment.com. That's celebrationsentertainment.com.
Ben Brust here to tell you about the Princeton Club. If you're looking for a place where you can better yourself while having a wonderful atmosphere, you have it at the Princeton Club. Strong communities, strong body, and strong mind. All it takes is one small step to start today. You will see that you have everything you need in order to achieve all of your goals. Find your better tomorrow at the Princeton Club. 8 Madison locations where you go in there, you take a tour, and you realize this is a place for me. Find more at PrincetonClub.net.
On the air, on demand, on social, on Wisconsin Sports. Serving Wisconsin sports fans. This is 100.5 ESPN.
Whatever you do, make sure you do it right.
He is the GOAT of Wisconsin Sports Talk Radio. The wheels are in motion to get him into the Wisconsin Broadcasters Hall of Fame. Whether or not I'm willing to get other people in there to make his ground rules covered, I'm not sure yet. You hear him every weekday, including with John Anderson on Tuesdays on the Homer Hour on ESPN Milwaukee and ESPN Beaver Dam. You hear him on the call of Marquette men's basketball games for 35 years, although unfortunately not for a Sweet 16 game this week. And, of course, you can always catch him on God Talk, My Faith, with Homer and Pip on YouTube. It is Steve the Homer True. Homer, good morning. Say hi to the professor, Mr. 7'2.5".
Yeah, or he likes to go by 220, but he doesn't know it's not in Europe. There's some things you just can't change with salt and sugar. That's my new name for him.
Salt and sugar?
Yes, the greatness of John Anderson is people see him as a very, I think, positive person at the Sports Center, and there's a lot of sugar. But if you don't know the salt of John Anderson, you don't know him. That's the standard right there.
John
He's
Anderson,
saying
your rebuttal.
He just thinks on occasion I'm mean as a cuss, which is probably true. I am.
That's part of you. Your distaste for Kansas is legendary for the human race. Harmless,
It's not.
but legendary.
Wait. Disdain for the University of Kansas, where our friend Lance Leipold is the head football coach. Explain to me what Homer's talking about here, because I may have to revise my opinion now as a result.
I'm going to show you real quick. Where's my thing for Lance? Like Lance and myself, he's only known as this because I won't type the word.
Former UW Whitewater football coach.
So
that's actually pretty good.
We did our podcast with him one time, and I didn't. We got done, and the co-host Trevor said, "Like, did you even say the word?" I'm like, "No, I went through the whole." I'd say, you coached at Whitewater, you coached at Buffalo, now you're at a Big 12 school. Like, I just refused to say the word. I am no different than anybody else that knows what the rivalry is about. I don't know if you knew this in your copy. You never capitalized that word because it's neither a proper name nor a proper place.
Wow.
My daughter, when she was like in second or third grade, took a geography test and took a dive, got 98 on it, knew she'd still get an A, and didn't fill in the word, didn't fill in the state. So yeah, so it is. It is not a place
Come
that
on, tell them how
worry about.
far you drove. Tell them how far you drove to pee in the state of Kansas. Come on.
Yeah. I was in Tulsa, and a buddy and I, we went. We were just out. Another Mizzou grad. God bless Doug Owen, and we went to the bathroom. And there was a line of like 6 people to get in, and so we just got in the car. We drove from Tulsa across the border, peed in Kansas, then went back to the bar. It's not healthy. It's not right, but it's not unusual for people on both sides of this. Okay, the folks on the other side of the state line have an equal disdain for us, and I respect that in them. And that's fine, but it's a horrible place. Any true son would not have it. Anybody that would be on the right side of that. And the hard part of it, being on the Missouri side, is that in the war amongst the states, the state of Missouri was on the wrong side of that thing. They fit for the South. And I am not proud of that part of it, but that's where it dates back to. People that they don't care for each other from way back when, and that's where both the school nicknames come from. They're rooted in the Civil War. And as a Wisconsin guy who came down and had no idea about the rivalry, we sat in our first Big 8 meeting, team meeting before my first Big 8 meet, and I can still see my coach, who is Missouri through and through. He's 101 years old. He's the nicest, kindest gentleman in the world, and he never once ever cursed. And he was telling us that the coaches had predicted us to be 7th in the poll, the coaches meeting, and he said that he knew we were better than that, and blah blah blah. And then he finally said, "But men, if we're 7th," and he got red, and he finally just said, "Man, I would rather spit than be a Jayhawk." And ever since then, I'm like, "All right, I'm in." That's all I needed to hear, is that Coach Steele would rather spit than be a Jayhawk. But it's deep. It's awful.
If you think of John Anderson as sugar, then you'd say everybody does that, but he would say, "Come on, I'm not going that far." But when you understand there's some salt there, it's like, this might be the greatest salt in the history of humanity. How can I not be a part of it? That's my explanation for it. Whether or not he agrees,
So the one shirt that I had before you were nice enough to send me this hoodie was Nike did a thing years ago, and I basically collected almost every school, and I would wear a different school every day. But it was it was it was the phrase that defined the school, right?
Well, don't say that. Don't say that, Shave. That's awful.
No, I'm not going to say the one from the other school, which apparently I'm not going to say which school it is. There's rocks and chalks and everything else involved there. Mm-hmm. Every true son. What does that mean?
It's part of the fight song. Just every true son from Missouri. That's what we're saying. Every true son and daughter rally up for your team. So
and don't utter
but
the
I have these are the pictures that are in my favorites. Like, that I need to have easily accessible, so that when something bad happens, like they lose to Bucknell, that I can go right after it and get after those people, so that we know that we can just, there you go, we're sad.
Jason, you should know that I also believe that right now, John Anderson believes that Craig Counsell should have gone to Kansas.
No, I just think he again, and I've said this, Homer. I get it. The guy's tired. He's been there 9 years, whatever, in a low budget thing. He wanted to go spend money, even though the Cubs now say they're just about breaking even. So I don't blame him. He made the proper decision for him and his family. It just means I don't have to like it. So the last time I drove home to Green Bay, because he had done it, I refused to stay in South Bend, where usually I stop from Connecticut. And so I drove through to Michigan City and spent the night there, because I was just pissed off at Counsell in South Bend.
And then you drove to Kansas and peed. You are really something. These are revelations that I did not expect. Homer, what's it been like working with John Anderson every week?
Terrible.
It's fantastic. I would have, if I'd known he was filling in, I would have refused to be on the show, because the show is going to be better. I have nothing to add. I can't make the show better. I just make it worse. You and John Anderson just take it away. But I wasn't in.
Here's when Shaka beat him. There's when Shaka beat him. You got to have that one handy. So that's just, you got that. This poor youngster. That's the SID's young kid. He's now in college. I feel bad for him because his dad's a friend of mine. But it's these people deserve what they get.
I definitely don't feel that way about Marquette. I was hoping. I love Shaka Smart. I was disappointed to see them lose their first round game. Homer, I know you like to think that we don't want to talk Marquette basketball on here, but I always do because you are the voice. 35 years of Marquette men's basketball. How did you view their exit? It was a bad weekend for Wisconsin basketball teams who had really good years, right? UWGB's women, Oshkosh's women, Stout's women, they both went to the Final Four. Obviously, the Badger men lost in the second round, and Marquette lost in the first round. How did you view that exit, and what's the vibe right now with Marquette basketball with so many great seniors departing?
I think it was disappointing, but not surprising. Marquette had played at that level for a while, and the hope was that they could play a little better, and they got behind and then got ahead. But there was no one shocked, and it was kind of a sad finish because they were so good early in the year. And to me, the NCAA tournament determines everything, and so the memory will be. And they beat Maryland at Maryland. They beat Purdue, but it's what you do at the end. And sadly, they just didn't play enough. But it's not like you watched the game and said they're way better than New Mexico. The kid Donovan Dent was the best player on the floor at the end of the game, and that's often how it works in the NCAA tournament. And too bad because Cam Jones had a great year, but my there's a sadness there. But from the standpoint of college basketball, the biggest sadness has to be that Wisconsin lost because Tanjay was as electric a player as anybody in the tournament, right up there with the kid from Duke, and he's gone. And he did everything, and they still lost. And he had one of the great games in the history of the NCAA tournament, and it means nothing because they lost. And I've said this before. It's the worst thing about sports I hate. I can't. If Dwayne Wade had done what he did against Kentucky and they'd lost, nobody'd remember the triple-double. You got to win. And he had a chance. He scored like every basket in the end, and he didn't even just score a two-pointer. Even if he didn't make a three, then he got fouled. He scored like 3 points. I wanted to go back over and figure it out, and it all doesn't matter. They lost. And at the end of the game, I would have preferred, if I had been the coach, during the timeout, I'd have said, all right, Tajay, just make a three. They can't stop you from scoring. Go for the three with about as early as you can so that if you miss it, which I don't think you will, we have a chance for the rebound. Now go out and win the game. And he had an open three, didn't take it. And I don't know that it would have gone in, but it doesn't matter. He's just special. I don't care where he played. I don't know how anybody watching that game couldn't go, wow. And it's over. So
Greg Gard did say after the game that was a consideration, but he didn't want to tell Tanjay what to do on the play, right. Which I think is reasonable coaching, right? The guy got you to that point.
No, I disagree. No,
okay.
That's not what I would do. He's a good coach. I'm telling you, go up, get out there, make the three. Go out, shoot the three. Why would you go? We can win the game. You're going to win the game. Go win the game.
Okay.
If you get an open three, take it. Now, maybe he did say if you have an open three, take it. He didn't take it, but I'm not finding fault because there's no way to say one is better than the other. But the kid was making everything to win the damn game and to get a rebound shot. So
he was special, even though his time at Wisconsin was brief. On the flip side of it, Cam Jones was at Marquette for a long time. I watched his press conference, and that was hard to watch. The emotion that he showed. What will you take with you from all the great players that you have called their games? And we know what esteem you hold Dwayne Wade in. We know how you feel about Travis Diener. What will you take away from doing all of Cam Jones's games and seeing what he accomplished during his career at Marquette?
I mean, he's the second all-time leading scorer, an amazing scorer. But then, when asked to, he became a good point guard. So, what's the most memorable game? I don't know if there is one. I can't. None just really jumps out. But he's a second-team All-American, All Big East. I mean, he's clearly one of Marquette's great players, and the same thing. It's just sad that he didn't have the opportunity to go further.
Homer, when you look at the Big East, I'm curious about this, and John, you talk to him all the time, so I'll let you jump in here after this question. But I'm curious. So Sean Miller, who I have known since he was the restricted earnings coach for Stu Jackson when I was at Wisconsin, has now left Xavier, and he is now the new coach at Texas. And Richard Pitino, who was the coach of New Mexico that beat Marquette, is now going to Xavier to become Xavier's coach. How do you view the coaching carousel, and what does it say that Marquette has someone in Shaka Smart that hopefully will never leave?
No one knows anything about college basketball now. It's no one knows anything. I mean, coaches are just it's in a situation where nothing can be talked about as an indication of anything, because it's just crazy time. No one understands what's going on. No one knows what's going to happen in the future. So you just kind of watch it and hope that they can resolve this. I think the judge has to decide in April, but nothing is an indication of anything because it's total chaos. So, and everybody wants things to change, and so when they change, then you'll be able to observe what's going on. Now is just passing time in total chaos until they can figure out a way to have some guidelines. I mean, the other thing is, this may take a while. I said it before, but John Tange will go down as the greatest NIL ever in terms of his production versus what he cost. I mean, no one knows the numbers exactly now, but it was between New Mexico and Wisconsin. You know what a player is when the choice is New Mexico and Wisconsin? Not that good. Not only was he good, he was one of the elite players in the country, and that will be remembered. And that's probably a disappointment that's understandable for Wisconsin. They had an incredible opportunity because of the uniqueness of a player of that level available the way they got him. And it was
I think it's amazing how you skip over his 8 games at Missouri that he played, right? Because he left Colorado State. He was at Missouri for a year and hurt his foot and couldn't play. So how about you're welcome to start, and then you're like we could have probably watched
got
that.
a good coach, and if they knew he was going to be that good, they would have paid whatever they had to keep him.
Yeah, I'm sitting there like, how do you let that guy go out of the fold? Like, what did you miss that you decided that was it? But, that we shut him down in time and saved him his 6th-year medical red shirt. God bless, because everybody should be in school 6 years now. That's the best way to go about things.
Salt won at 7. Why 6?
It's coming to that. They're going to go to 5 years. They're going to go to 5 years eligibility. And then you'll have a red shirt that if you played 5 games, then you'll be able to play again. And we're going to have a bunch of 7-year seniors. They're talking about 5-year straight eligibility, and my guess is that will pass. I will be shocked if that does not pass.
You could be right now, but I just want to emphasize: no one knows for sure of anything because this is total chaos. And you could be right, but no one knows. It's weird. I've never been a part of anything in my life in sports like this.
Well, I think when you talk about the Marquette kid, one of the things there is that, like, you could tell the kid was invested in being a Marquette player. So many of these other guys, you're here for a year, you go to the next best deal, you do whatever. And it's hard sometimes to rally guys up and go, okay, let's go play for the W or go play for the Shield or go play for whatever it is. When they're not, they're playing strictly for a dollar sign and they don't care about the front of the. You can say that.
That is an excellent point, and no one has nor ever will show more loyalty and love for playing for Marquette than Cam Jones. In addition to what you say, he's from Memphis. right? Memphis loves basketball as much as any city in the country. I'm guessing Memphis would have paid twice, like 10. I can't even think of the amount of money to have a local kid, Cam Jones, play at Memphis. I don't know this. I just know how he chose to stay at Marquette at a time when I think 99,000 kids, 999, would have of Memphis, all would have gone to Memphis, and it would have been understandable if he did. Yes, no one has ever loved playing for Marquette or shown more loyalty, and I'm not sure they ever will have the ability than Cam Jones is, and that probably should be at the top of the list.
Do you remember, Homer, we never talked about this. Do you remember the game the Marquette played in, was it 94-ish? It was Wade's team. The beat Missouri in the round of 32 where it went to overtime and they didn't miss a shot.
Yes,
not a two, not a three, not a free throw.
Yes.
Yeah,
Steve
and
Novak
every
hit
time.
5 threes. Yes. Who was your coach, Quinn Snyder?
Quinn Snyder. And so having gotten to, Wade came up and we did a commercial with him one time, and then a couple times NBA Finals, he joined us, and I kind of reminded him of that the first time, just to kind of break the ice. And most every time he sees me now, he'll just go, we still haven't missed. And I'm like, dude, it's 30 years from now. Okay. I get it. You still haven't missed and you've won titles. I'm not sure why you need to obsess about this, but, it's still one of the more painful things. We had a really good group and they didn't miss any shots. Not just saying that figuratively. They missed no shots in overtime, scored like 21 points. It was gross. It was absolutely gross.
Your memory is good. Nicely done.
See, you think I just take Kansas. I got a lot of scars. That's why I try to tell him, don't take Missouri in the tournament. This is a bad idea. Our history is poor. I love my team, but the results, you should be able to look at the results again and again and go, this seems like this is not something I would do. It doesn't seem like a smart play. It's kind of like when your team is bad in the last 10 games and they go into the tournament, you think, well, they'll turn it around this week. That just doesn't happen. Right? Nobody finds something magical after the last 3 weeks where they've been bad, but they find it in the shoot around open to the public for that 1 hour at the tournament. It just doesn't work that way.
Didn't Wisconsin?
Please understand that as much as he tries to, Marquette could have made 1,000 baskets in a row. The last one blindfolded, and he still would not be as upset with Marquette as he is every second he breathes at Kansas.
No, I'm happy with Kansas. They lost in the first round. They were terrible in this. It's all good. That part makes me happy.
All right.
Homer, I will talk to you later today without John Anderson or Brian Bulaga. It's our Wednesday that we get to spend together. Thank you.
My pleasure.
That is Steve the Homer True. And
I can't believe you didn't know that I was not a fan of the university over there.
I knew the rivalry. I knew that you weren't a fan. The depth to which it goes, that I was not aware of. It's
respectable.
I hope that I hope Lance loses every game for the next 11 years, and then they keep him so they can go into a slump.
Or maybe he wins and then he goes to Missouri.
Scares me to death. I wish he had left. I told him that. I'm like, dude, I so wish you'd have taken one of these jobs because I think he's really, really good, and we're going to play him again for the first time in ever this fall. And I think he's a better coach than so many guys. I'm like, I just fear that this guy is going to beat us because he's really that good, and it makes me sick.
We continue our tradition of going way over in every hour.
Love it.
Still another segment left in the 10 o'clock hour with John Anderson as our cousin sub of the day. It's Wilde and Tausch.
We're on the Brewers.
They're really good at identifying talent. They're really good at developing talent.
Because we're on Wisconsin sports.
This is one of the best organizations in Major League Baseball.
100.5 ESPN.
Mark Tauscher here for the great team at Everlight Solar. I'm here to tell you about 2 significant switches you're going to want to know about. First, remember, the radio home of Milwaukee baseball has changed this year to 100.5 ESPN. And second, let me tell you about how my family made the switch to solar energy with the great team at Everlight Solar. We'd been thinking about making the switch for a while, but we weren't exactly sure where to even start. That's when we met with the Everlight Solar team, and they outlined the entire process and educated us on the benefits of making the switch. It was super simple. Join us in saving a ton of money and creating a greener environment for our family and the community by switching to solar. Save money and help save the planet. Learn more and schedule a free consultation at everlightsolar.com. That's everlightsolar.com.
You, rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Pablo Iglesias.
This Badger Minute is brought to you by Steinhoffels. Shop Beauty Rest Black mattresses at Steinhoffels. The new Beauty Rest Black is only $42 per month when you use Steinhoffels 60-month financing only at Steinhoffels. Wisconsin women's hockey now 8 titles strong after Sunday's roller coaster win over Ohio State. 38-1-2 their final record, and a list of accomplishments that followed. Mark Johnson, National Coach of the Year. Ava McNaughton, Goalie of the Year. And Casey O'Brien, National Player of the Year. O'Brien's words on their strong chemistry.
We're the deepest team that I've ever been on. If you're having a bad day, or if the first line or whoever it is having a bad day, that the next line is going to step up. It's a really special thing, and most teams don't have that. So for us to be able to have that, especially going into high-pressure games like the national championship, is insane.
Right now at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, get windows as low as $22 per month and doors as low as $89 per month. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Look what we have here. It's the refreshing deliciousness of a Pepsi mini can. It's the perfect complement to any meal. The dash of indulgence your day was dreaming of. The sip that'll have you singing Pepsi.
Nope, not again, Steve. Let's take a cue from the Pepsi mini can and pack all that awesomeness you're feeling into a much smaller treat for everyone. Deal?
So, big awesomeness, smaller size. I think I've got just the thing.
Pepsi mini can. Mini can, big taste.
In the next 30 seconds, I'm going to tell you how to save money and save the planet. It's simple. Ditch your energy bill and make the switch over to Everlight Solar. While electricity prices keep rising, Everlight Solar will give you the chance to take ownership of your power while also reducing your carbon footprint. As a local company based out of Madison, they'll be there with you every step of the way as you make the switch to solar. To learn more about how you can save money and save the planet, go to everlightsolar.com.
If you're looking for a special piece of jewelry for any occasion, Condon Jewelers is always there for you. Condon Jewelers has the best selection of jewelry you'll ever find and guaranteed to have the lowest prices in the Madison area. Free shipping is always available. Visit CondonJeweler.com or call 241-3406 and ask for Jim, the owner, who's at the store every day. Shop locally. Condon Jewelers, the jeweler on the east side, the jeweler on your side.
Good Karma Brands is proud to be an equal opportunity employer. Our policy is to provide equal opportunity employment, development, and advancement to all current and potential teammates. If you are an organization that maintains a job bank, provides employment information, or gives job referrals, you may request to be placed on the station's mailing list for future career opportunities. To learn more about careers at Good Karma Brands, please email careers@goodkarmabrands.com.
For official rules and more information about every contest on 100.5 ESPN, visit ESPNWisconsinContests.com. That's ESPNWisconsinContests.com. You're listening to 100.5 ESPN and the ESPN app.
We're on the Badgers.
It was successful, but also disappointing. That's just what this season was. I don't think any of us went into this season going, they're going to be a 3 seed. They're going to be really good this year. They're going to be competing for a Big Ten championship again.
This is 100.5 ESPN and Wisconsin On Demand.
With John Anderson, our cousin sub of the day. Cousin subs, we believe in better. Thanks to Homer. We always love it when we get to talk to him. We will kick off the 11 o'clock hour. I am going to abbreviate this final segment since it's 11:08. What, Jesse?
Did John do Kansas highlights when he was at SportsCenter?
Ooh, good question.
Did you ask for the Kansas highlights?
He pawned him off on Levy.
How does that work?
So I never asked nor declined, but it is because I went to school there and people know that. It doesn't matter. I'd get mail or emails or voicemails from people that no matter what I said, that just ripped me. And you could literally, and so I knew Bill Self when he was an assistant at, talking about Miller and Stu Jackson. So Bill was an assistant at Oklahoma State, his alma mater, when I first got there with Leonard Hamilton. And then he was at Tulsa. And so I've known Bill forever. And so literally you'd go, oh, Bill Self, gosh, that guy can coach. They won by 30. It's easy. They roll into the second round and people are like, I can't believe how you dissed Kansas. So, some of that you were just in for. No matter what you said, they just were like, you were. So you could have been as flattering as could be. And then they're like, listen to that condescending SOB talking about how good we are when he doesn't mean it, So, and the worst I ever got was Paul Pierce missed a free throw. And I said, you can take the boy out of Kansas, but you can't take Kansas out of the boy. And people got really mad. But they thought because boy was condescending and they didn't get that was part of a phrase. And so the few people that wrote that, I tried to explain that I really dislike Kansas, but I understand that perhaps seemed and by the way, I worked with Paul and I told him that and he just chuckled, like he didn't care. He was a superstar, man. He's like, I got millions. If that's the worst thing that's ever been said about me, forget it. So it wasn't as terrible, but I didn't shy away from it when it happened, but
you certainly didn't shy away from it today.
But think about it. That's the one thing about sports is in the end, no matter what, you can have a bias or not. I can't change the final score.
Right.
And they keep us in basketball for 100 years. Like, okay, so there you go. I may dislike you with the fire of 10,000 suns, which is a few suns short, but it still doesn't change that you beat us 75-70 or whatever the score is, So
right.
That part you can't affect the outcome.
Sugary and salty all at once. It is our friend John Anderson, our cousin sub of the day. Want to remind you, I've been telling you about this all week, and I'm going to continue telling you about it because it's a great thing that we're doing with Verizon. Verizon is giving you the chance to win the ultimate draft experience with the Road to the Draft sweepstakes. 10 lucky winners will win tickets to the first day of the 2025 NFL Draft in Green Bay, including round-trip car service from Milwaukee, hotel accommodations, plus access to the Verizon viewing zone where you'll be taken care of like a first-round pick. Don't miss your chance to win the ultimate draft experience powered by Verizon. All you got to do is get into one of the select Wisconsin Verizon locations to enter. You got to do it by April 13th. So make sure you do that. If you want more information and you want to follow the official rules and the full details, go to ESPNWisconsinContests.com. The 11 o'clock hour of Wilde and Tausch starts at 11:13 in 2 minutes, so stick around.
Don't go anywhere. Another hour of Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, is coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin, the ESPN app, and Wisconsin On Demand.
When it comes to security for your home and family, you want a winner, and we found one when we placed our trust with J&K Security Solutions. This is Greg Gard. Kim and Jeff hit the game-winning shot for us with the Control 4 home technology system. Home or away, from our smartphones, we can open the garage door, dim the lights, turn on the TV, as well as arm the security system. That's convenience as well as peace of mind. Let J&K Security Solutions do for your home or business like they've done for us. Call 255-5799 or online at jksecurity.com.
Hey, this is former Badger Brad Norton.
It's a fake. Great call and great execution.
You're listening to a Good Karma Brands radio station, 100.5 ESPN, WTLX, Monona, Madison.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio, this is your Metro Kia of Madison Sports Center.
Good morning, Madison and streamers everywhere. I'm Jesse Nelson. SportsCenter brought to you by Milwaukee Brewers Baseball on ESPN Madison. Don't miss opening day in the Bronx when the Brewers visit the Yankees to start the 2025 MLB season. Brewers-Yankees tomorrow afternoon right here on Madison's new home of the Milwaukee Brewers, 100.5 ESPN. Tough news, tough day for Milwaukee Bucks fans. So, the Bucks play the Nuggets tonight in Denver. 8 o'clock tip. Pre-game coverage starts at 7:30 here on Madison's home of the Bucks, 100.5 ESPN. Yesterday, it was announced that Bucks guard Damian Lillard sustained a blood clot in his right calf. Lillard on blood-thinning medication, which has stabilized the blood clot, but he will miss an indefinite period of time. In addition to that, Giannis is also now out for tonight's game against the Denver Nuggets with an injury. Bobby Portis continues to be out with a suspension. So some of the superstars not in action tonight for the Bucks in Denver, taking on the Nuggets. You can still catch the game here. Coverage starts at 7:30, tip at 8 here on 100.5 ESPN. You can also still catch the 11 o'clock hour, Jason Wilde and John Anderson on Wilde and Tausch right now.
Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealer. Stop into Metro Kia on the east side of Madison or metrokiaofmadison.com.
The 11 o'clock hour of Wilde and Tausch with John Anderson in as our cousin sub of the day. Cousin subs, we believe in better. Begins now. We'll get to trivia coming up next, but before we do, I just went back in my archives to come upon the montage of This Is SportsCenter commercials that you were in. The rain delay one is a classic. You faking the ankle injury like a soccer player going through the halls of ESPN is a classic. There's one where Bon Jovi is playing a quasi-concert in like the newsroom.
That was the first one I did.
There's the one where you're taking Archie Manning and Peyton and which is my personal favorite.
That is a great one.
And Eli, and Peyton's kicking Eli, and they're doinking each other in the ear as they're not paying attention to your tour. When you look back on those, and obviously there were some great ones that didn't involve you as well, but your favorite ones that you did, what's on the list?
The Manning one was really good. It was fun. Those guys were great. The favorite part of that one is it's worth, if anybody's got older brothers or knows the birth order, is they did the whole thing. And then at the end, the director said, now let's do one where Eli, kicks Peyton, and that's the end. And Peyton said, no, we're not going to do that. And the guy said, no, we'll put it on tape. We'll see. We probably won't use it. And he said, no, we're not going to do that. And now their oldest brother, Cooper's like, yeah, we're not going to do that. And they asked one more time, and Peyton just stopped. He said, you don't understand. Eli doesn't win. Eli's never won in this family, and Eli's not winning today, even if it's just for one take. And Eli just sat there and didn't say a word, took it all, didn't move. And that's my favorite part of what happened in that one is they were just crushing it, and he didn't go, well, guys, come on, let me just do it once. Didn't say boo to advocate for himself. He's just like, I've had this argument my entire life. I know how this is going to end. I'm not even going to waste my breath on this thing. And it turns out they never did shoot it, which was kind of fun. That was great. I did one with Maria Sharapova, which I thought, well, she walked in and she had a little dog like in a bowling bag, and this is going to be Diva City. She could not have been nicer. She was fantastic. I was signing a bridge loan to my home that we were building, and I told him I got to leave at 2:00. And these things always run over and like, yeah, whatever. So 2:00 came and I explained that I had to leave and I would be back. And I literally ran down, drove down in 2 minutes to where the bank was, signed the paper. I was back in like 17 minutes. And she's like, oh, where are you building? Oh, what size house do you have? She couldn't have been nicer. And then when I went back the next day to literally pick up the papers, because that's how quickly I left, the guy goes, man, you were in a hurry. I hope I didn't take you away from anything. He said, I was just having lunch with Maria Sharapova. And he kind of ha. And I went back in there again, and I had a picture from the deal. And I said, here I was. And the guy was like, wow, I'm sorry. And he bumped up my money market like a half a point for the inconvenience of breaking up my lunch with Maria Sharapova. So she was, they were all kind of fun like that. They were the number of guys or gals that saw that as some validation of their career.
Yeah.
Was a big point. And honestly, the first one I did with Bon Jovi was sort of like that for me. Like I always joke, my buddies until that first commercial came out thought I was there, but I just was sort of I was shamming Chris Berman's car after it came out of the car wash until, because it was on ESPN News and nobody knew where to find news. It did pop up for like a half hour on ESPN or ESPN2. And then you always had to throw to the fishing show Spanish Fly, which just made you laugh. at the end of it. So when I finally did the Bon Jovi commercial and it came out, like all my buddies like, oh, maybe he actually works there. I didn't even know. Like they didn't, so that was sort of violation. But there were just a bunch of Steve Irwin, the Crocodile Hunter, was great because he did that with we're at a break and he said, God rest his soul. He goes, how am I doing? I'm not my best. I have a torn ACL. I'm getting that fixed like on Wednesday. And so he's tackling an alligator with a torn ACL, and he's doing it with such vigor that they're gluing Albert's teeth back into his mascot head between takes. It was just there was just a load of funny things that happened when you did them. It was really kind of it was great,
One other question I want to ask, because I know you don't love talking about yourself, so let me pivot this slightly. How competitive, maybe competitive is the wrong word, but like how big of a deal was it for you and for Buchagras and for Levy? Like, were you guys always hoping that, you got one of these assignments and that yours was funnier than Van Pelt's or whatever? Like, was there a healthy, or was it all just these are all going to be funny and we're just all going to enjoy them?
Yeah, it was more like they were always funny. Very few were ever written for people specifically, right? Scott being in the back of the BMW with the Wanamaker Trophy and Beamer, like that was written Scott-wise. When they did Usain Bolt, because he was a track guy, I went and I did, that every once in a while you'd get one. But most of them, they'd be like, hey, can you come tomorrow morning? Like, dude, I'm doing the show till 3 a.m. And they go, okay, cool. We'll have Robert Flores do it. And so a lot of them were just parceled out, in that regard. So when we did Usain Bolt, I took my son out of school. He was in 2nd grade. And I told my wife, like, that record's going to stand till he's 50. So we need to have him come. But I made him write a little story so he could take it back. And explain to his teacher why he had left. So he writes this little story. Literally, my dad is not the fastest man in the world. Because everybody thinks their dad's the fastest man in the world for a long time. My kid had it blown by Usain Bolt in 2nd grade, like literally. And so he does it, and then Bolt signs his homework. Please excuse Colin, Usain Bolt. And we turn it in, and we never got it back.
What?
Like the teacher just kept it. I don't know if the teacher has it. I don't know if the teacher threw it away, but he literally, it was like Epstein's mother. Please excuse Colin from being absent. Usain Bolt, little 969 or whatever his world record was at the time. And we never got it back. I'm like, I can't believe we just gave away your signed story about Usain Bolt. And it was terrible. But
need to track that teacher down.
Most of them, they just came around. You just kind of, if you were in the area, you fell into them. Once in a while, they did stuff. Like Steve Levy, when he did the one with Alex Ovechkin, because he's a hockey guy, so right. He did that. But every once in a while, but for the most part, hey, are you free for 3 hours to come shoot this? And you're like, sure, I'll go do that.
Well, we will. I found a video that has kind of the highlights from when you were bidding farewell to SportsCenter. So we'll share that on our social media channels for those that have not seen some of these. The clips are really good. There's one with Dwayne Wade in it as well, where he's cutting highlights and you're impatient.
Going too slow and he yells at me. Yeah, that was one. And there were some are really low key. Like you just end up doing stuff. Like, why am I sitting in my underwear playing poker with Johnny Chan and Texas Slim or whoever the hell these people are? And you're like, okay, I guess. Well, sure, we'll do that. It's just, I don't know. I like to talk about those because those were really fun and they actually don't involve me, right? They're so about the athlete that's there,
right?
Making them look good, and you don't really ever have to say anything. Although I do tell people, if all you watched is the Manning commercial for the gag, you're really missing high comedy that I hit just because they're like, just make something up about the tour. I'm like, okay, so that would be me thinking that somewhere is always the sight gag is taking away from the copy, which is really sad, as you know.
Dave in Deerfield. Charlie Steiner with his tie on his head. Follow me to freedom was great.
Yeah, that was just before I got there when he did that one. So, yeah, and then they had some, like in that little montage you show, they have the hooligans break a bottle over my head, and then somebody complained that wasn't the right thing to do. We were promoting violence, so that one got yanked off. Like there's all kinds of stuff. My favorite, when they like they did Manny being Manny, and then he got traded, so that one had to go in the closet right away for whoever was Van Pelt and Jay Harris or somebody. But yeah, they were always fun to hang out and do. And like I said, the guys are always. That's where you find out like they're really actually just normal people. I mean, you know that, like, and they want to be treated like that to some degree, right? They also feel like they've earned a place of respect, which they totally have.
Right.
So long as you do that and express, like, listen, I get it. You are an NBA All-Star. You're but they also have, I tell people all the time. I can remember this is a huge name drop flex, but the one British Open I went to. That got to cover, which was at St. Andrews. And there I am on the road hole 17 visiting with Tiger Woods. And he's telling me about how Sam, his daughter, she hates golf. I was telling him my daughter kind of likes playing it. And he goes, she hates it because every time she sees my clubs, she knows that daddy's leaving.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, that's such a human thing. Like she sees his clubs, she knows that dad's leaving. And in those moments, you realize that all these people, though, for whatever they do, however good they are at it, for whatever money they make, they're still people that deal with the exact same thing that you do if you have to pack up and take everybody to the owner's meeting with a nine-week-old or all those other things, and you kind of lose that. And when you're around them, that's kind of one of the nice things you get to find out is that they're actually not little people that do their thing inside your TV. They're actually real life human beings with real life stuff, even if they can, afford when their refrigerator breaks or their car breaks down to just get a brand new car instead of having to go worry about how much it costs to fix in the shop. But, that was the coolest part of seeing some of the human element of who those people are.
I love that. I'm glad we had time to do that. And now we need to play trivia. Jesse, what is today's category and what caller would you like?
It is Wisconsin Geography Wednesday, and it is presented by Up North Joe, my buddy from up north. He's back after celebrating the birth of their baby daughter last week. Congratulations to Joe and Mrs. Up North Joe.
Mrs. Up North Joe. All right, we'll take caller 10. Caller 10, 844-770-3776. 844-770-3776. We'll play trivia next after Tausch tells us about Coors Light. It's Wilde and Tausch.
Mark Tauscher here for the Blue Mountains of cold, refreshing Coors Light. Well, whether you're tailgating pregame, enjoying your experience during the game, or celebrating a big win after the game, or you just need a moment to chill, crack open a Rocky Mountain cold Coors Light. Coors Light is brewed with a 3-step cold process, cold lager, cold filtered, and it's cold packaged, so it's actually made to chill. The mountains on Coors Light's cold-activated bottles and cans, they turn blue. That's when you know it is chilled to perfection, which, besides the refreshing taste, is my favorite thing about drinking Coors Light. Refreshingly cold and only 102 calories, Coors Light is made to chill. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
This is Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Call Gina Della from Pella today, 855-PELLA-WI, and online at PellaWI.com/radio.
Mark Tauscher here for Chalmers Jewelers. I've been a big fan of Scott, Garrett, and the whole team at Chalmers Jewelers for years now. I go there, my friends go there, and most importantly, my wife loves it whenever I get her something from Chalmers Jewelers. It's my go-to spot for birthdays, anniversaries, and any special occasion. For quality jewelry and a great experience, choose Chalmers Jewelers, the place to go for that perfect gift. Stop at Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton and Madison.
Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton
and Madison.
Breaking news on ESPN Madison is presented by Metro Ford and Metro Kia of Madison. Find the Metro family of auto dealers online or see them in person on the east side of Madison today.
Every event tells a story, from the first impression to the final moments. Have someone guide your guests through every chapter the way you want the story told. Hi, it's Jeffrey from Celebrations Entertainment. With a strong presence, great voices, and an award-winning team, trust us to guide, direct, and inform your guests through all the different chapters of the day. For fun, memorable entertainment for any event, please visit us at celebrationsentertainment.com. That's celebrationsentertainment.com.
The GRB Rays have established themselves as one of the top baseball programs in the Midwest and the country. GRB Academy offers training programs for players of all ages and skill levels. Learn from some of the best baseball coaches in the area and find the program that fits your training goals and your schedule. Spots are filling up fast, so visit grbacademy.com to sign up now. That's grbacademy.com. GRB Academy, baseball for the serious player.
Have you been waiting to buy your next home? Stop. Now is the time to get housed. What's up, Madison? It's Stacy from Bruner Realty. Nobody has a crystal ball to know what the future holds. The longer you wait to find your next home, the better the chance you'll be paying more for it than you would be today. Don't miss out on what could be the best opportunity to find your dream home. Contact our team at BrunerRealtyInc.com to help start your search. That's BrunerRealtyInc.com. Let's get housed.
Since 1956, Holman Lindsay Paints has been making paint in Wisconsin for Wisconsin. Because of their commitment to making great paint for Wisconsinites, Holman Lindsay has grown over the years to 26 locations in this great state. Headquarters in Sun Prairie with a state-of-the-art facility, Holman Lindsay has the paint you need to make your job better. From do-it-yourself to professional, Holman Lindsay has paint for everyone. Visit one of their local locations today in Madison, Sun Prairie, Middleton, and Janesville.
Get your team together. Softball is back for 2025. Hey, it's Jesse Nelson. Registration for Madison School and Community Recreation's Adult Summer Softball Leagues is now open. Men's, women's, and all-gender slow pitch and women's fast pitch leagues are forming now for the summer season. MSCR Softball Leagues offer fun for every level of player and welcome all participants. Spend your summer evenings with us on the diamond. For more information and to register, go to mscrsportsleagues.org. That's mscrsportsleagues.org.
For official rules and more information about every contest on 100.5 ESPN, visit ESPNWisconsinContests.com. That's ESPNWisconsinContests.com. You're listening to 100.5 ESPN and the ESPN app.
All day, every day, the Carbless Talk and Text line is open for you. 844-770-3776. The Carbless Talk and Text line. This is more.
Wilde and Tausch on 100.5 ESPN is brought to you by Everlight Solar. Save money, save the planet. Everlight Solar.
All right, before we can play trivia, by the way, is Anderson one of these prima donnas who doesn't read the questions? Do I have to do them all just like Tausch always makes me do?
You'll have to ask John Anderson that.
I have them here. What do you need me to do?
That's what we like to hear around here. That's a nice change of pace.
How can I help better the program?
Yeah, wow. We're not used to this kind of thing with old T.
We really aren't. This is such a well-oiled machine, this trivia machine, though. It is Wednesday of the following week, and we have yet to pull last week's winner from the cheese fry helmet, which creates issues if there are players from last week trying to play this week.
An oversight. Jim, Matt, and Molly filled in for us all on Friday. An oversight that we did not draw the trivia winner. I was made aware of that today. I apologize to everybody who played last week that has been refraining from calling this week to try and win. So here we go. Sorry, everyone. Here's this week's trivia winner. It is Bill in New Berlin from last Wednesday. 1 week anniversary of him playing. Nice job, Bill.
Congrats, Bill, on your... the category is Up North Joe, new father, presents Wisconsin Geography Wednesday Question number 1 is this. At 143 feet long, the world's largest muskie sculpture is located at the Freshwater Fishing Hall of Fame. In which northern Wisconsin town? Is it Hayward, Chippewa Falls?
We got to get the Chippewa Falls.
Or Muskego?
Hayward.
I was a little worried for you there. Well done. 1 for 1 for Rick. Question 2 goes to John Anderson.
Standing 54 feet tall and able to hold 22,000 barrels of beer, the world's largest six-pack is an attraction found in which of these Wisconsin cities? I thought my backyard would be an option. It is not. La Crosse, Oshkosh, or Whitewater?
La Crosse.
That's a gimme.
No
That's a gimme. That's
hesitation
not even
there.
a trivia question. I like you learned that. You learned that right after you learned the alphabet in kindergarten.
Rick, you're 2 for 2. Here is question 3. It is this.
There's a theme here.
At 38 feet 11 inches tall and weighing 7,500 pounds, the world's largest potato masher is located at the Food and Farm Exploration Center near which of these Wisconsin towns? Is it near Bonduel, Plover, or Ripon?
I'm going to go with Ripon.
I was there yesterday, but there was no potato masher.
If only Tausch was here.
Tausch knows the potato corridor. Does he know a lot about Plover outside of Stevens Point? I don't know.
Every time we mention Plover, he knows it's in the potato corridor that he loves so much.
Rick, it was a good run. You got 2 out of 3. That means you got 3 of the possible 4 entries into Friday's drawing, if it actually occurs on Friday.
Right.
Thanks for playing, buddy. We appreciate you.
Take care, guys.
That is Wilde and Tausch trivia. Thanks to Rick for playing. John Anderson is a Wisconsin native. Would you have gone 3 for 3 there?
I would have, only because I could have. The third one I would have been able to do by the process of elimination. I wouldn't have known it was in Plover, but I know it's not over there in Old Bonduel. I know it's not in Bonduel. And Ripon is only famous for Ripon good cookies and the washers and dryers. So I would have gotten that just by process of elimination. The other 2 I knew.
By the way, as a former track and field athlete of some renown, you would have been impressed. Ripon College has an incredible indoor track facility.
Nice.
It was really amazing there yesterday, and we're proud of our pole vaulter who managed to score 1 point for her high school team in her first pole vaulting as a freshman varsity pole vaulter. So it's a fun day yesterday.
It's a big day.
We're supposed to get in our letter.
We got 1 more meet to go. We ran the mile last week, and now we got this one. So we got one more meet to go.
How high of a pole vault could you get over, Jason?
So I have gone to her practices. Our friend Tara Clack, friend of the program and friend of the Wisconsin track program, her father having converted one of his warehouses to give the Wisconsin track team an indoor facility to practice at because the university knocked down the old one without having a new one for them, and they are a nationally renowned championship contending program. She pole vaulted. I've seen her do it. I have watched Maddie do it. There are a couple of really, really good pole vaulters that go to Maddie's club that she goes to, the Green Bay Pole Vault Club. And there were some dudes yesterday that were getting up there. I think one cleared 12 feet. which, to put that in perspective, as I said to Sydney, that would be, because she's our basketball player, that would be like pole vaulting well over the top of the backboard on your basketball court. So put that in perspective. I'm 5'10". I'm not sure I could clear my own height. Let me put it that way.
So I have. Can I tell pole vault stories?
You certainly may.
I measured the pole vault world record once, an indoor pole vault world record of 19.2.5 by Joe Dial. He did it in Columbia. There were only two of us, myself and Andy Joslin, who were tall enough on top of the ladder to actually eyeball it. So I once got to certify a world record in the pole vault, which is extraordinary.
Are you scared of heights? That's a really high to go up on a ladder.
Nope. So that was pretty. That was kind of fun. The current world record in the pole vault, I like to think, Juan Duplantis is a very good friend of mine who I like to play. We've played golf before, and it's sick that the guy can vault 20 feet and make 12-foot putts, which is gross. But I have a theory about track and field. I'd love to hear what you have to say. I think part of the reason people like golf because they watch golf on TV and you can go play golf. And people like tennis because you can watch tennis and I go down to the park and play tennis. But they don't at the park have javelins sitting around, and they don't have pole vault equipment. I feel like if they would put pole vault equipment at every public park like they do tennis courts, it would be the second leading killer of young men in America. Because they would just go to try it. They try it at all hours. They'd try it at different stages of drunkenness. And I think it would be kind of fun, if not for the liability, if we could watch track and field on TV and go, cool, let's go down to the park and pole vault this afternoon, like we do when we play tennis.
You need to have like those like sumo suits that you put on for like safety to like bounce around. You'd have to do something like that to make it, accessible.
No helmets, nothing. No helmets, nothing. Let's just let them go. Like, you want to talk about natural selection, thinning the herd. That would be amazing.
You're fitting right in on this show because there are times when Tausch says things and I'm like, how did your brain go there? I will just say this. One of the great things about what I get to do for a living is that I get to be around all kinds of people in all different types of athletic pursuits where I look and go, oh my God, I can't believe this person can do that, right? Whether it's Aaron Rodgers throwing a football, whether it's watching some of the great basketball players that I've covered through high school, college, and NBA. Watching Ray Allen make like 35 three-pointers in a row at a Bucks practice at the old Cousins Center. Like, those are things that even though I could go play basketball at the park by my house, I can't do what he does. And when I go to a track meet, which I covered plenty of those, both at the high school and college level during my career, I watch a lot of people that I am just mystified by what they're capable of doing. The Fosbury flop that high jumpers like yourself do, the way that they do that, there were some kids doing that yesterday when I walked into the track meet. I am just blown away by what they're capable of doing. And they're all things, running fast, not on my list. Throwing a shot put 43 feet or whatever Thea Krall throws it, the Wisconsin Gatorade Player of the Year, no idea. Going over a pole vaulting bar. And by the way, not knocking it over, not with your butt as you go over it, but also you have to throw the pole away so that doesn't knock it over. All things that I don't know how these folks do it, and it's fun to watch Maddie do it, but I am astounded by all of them. So track and field has always been, Tausch gives me grief about it. Maybe because I had a crush on someone that I was covering once upon a time, but that's another story for another day. The bottom line is it's pretty impressive. Also impressive is how short of amount of time now this will leave for Wonelli, which is usually by design on this program. Before we can even get to Wonelli, though, again, I need to remind you that the home opener is almost here. It's time to get those tailgate grills out and grab your groceries. Opening day in Milwaukee. arrives next Monday. The unofficial start of summer happens with the Brewers home opener, and ESPN Wisconsin will be all over it. Sponsored by Carbless, ready-to-drink cocktails. You hear Brad Nortman talk about them all the time. Live shows from inside the ballpark, special guests all day, and an unmatched excitement for the crew as ESPN Wisconsin will carry every pitch of the home opener. Opening day on ESPN Wisconsin is sponsored by Carbless. Grab a pack today and be the MVP of your tailgate. Happy baseball season. Whoa, Nelly is next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
This is Wilde and Tausch, driven by Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie on 100.5 ESPN. See their full inventory at ZimbrickChevrolet.com.
Mark Tauscher here for Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie, the name you can trust. Well, it's the time of year when everybody is thinking about travel. Whether you're still finalizing details for a spring getaway or you're already on to thinking about where you'll be heading for a summer road trip, don't let vehicle maintenance be what slows you down. Make sure your vehicle is in its best shape possible every time you're getting ready to hit the road by stopping in to see the amazing service team at Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie. Routine maintenance is critical for keeping your vehicle in the best shape possible. Oil changes, tire rotations, tune-ups, and so much more. Get it checked out before you hit the road so you're not stranded when you're away from home. And if you're in the market for a vehicle upgrade, check out Zimbrick Chevy's new and used vehicle inventory. You can start your search by logging on to ZimbrickChevrolet.com. Stop into Zimbrick Chevrolet on Main Street in Sun Prairie and discover this great automotive team I've been telling you about for years. Consistently recognized as a best of Madison operation, Zimbrick Chevrolet on Main Street in Sun Prairie. The name you can trust.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
How is this Dallas Cowboys squad going to be better year over year? How are they going to improve from what we saw on the field in 2024 to 2025? That is the million-dollar question.
Is it, though? Because I think we know the answer to it. They won't. They won't improve. I cannot for the life of me understand what Dallas is doing.
Unsportsmanlike.
Weekdays from 5 to 9 on 100.5 ESPN.
Hey football fans, Verizon is giving you the chance to win the ultimate draft experience with the Road to the Draft sweepstakes. 10 lucky winners will win tickets for the first day of the 2025 draft in Green Bay, including round-trip car service from Milwaukee, hotel accommodations, plus access to the Verizon viewing zone where you'll be taken care of like a first-round pick. Don't miss your chance to win the ultimate draft experience powered by Verizon. Hurry to select Wisconsin Verizon locations to enter by April 13th. No purchase necessary to enter. Must be legal U.S. resident of Wisconsin or Illinois. Age 21 years or older. Void where prohibited. For official rules and full details, visit www.espnwisconsincontest.com.
Is it Waukesha or Waukesha? Brat or Brat? Is it ever okay to vacation in Minnesota? Wisconsinites can't agree on everything, but we can agree getting paid earlier is better. That's why UW Credit Union is making members direct deposits available up to 2 days earlier. Early payday at UW Credit Union. Join today. Federally insured by NCUA. Visit uwcu.org for details.
Gruber Law Office's Thanalysis Live is back. March 29th at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Join Thanasis Adetokunbo for a live show that's sure to entertain like none other. Last year, it was a surprise appearance from ESPN's Stephen A. Smith. You never know what Thanasis has planned for 2025. Get your tickets to Thanalysis Live right now. Visit ESPN Madison on Twitter for event and ticket info. It's Gruber Law Office's Thanalysis Live, presented by Potawatomi Casino Hotel and Carbless. Also supported by the Prisoner Wine Company and McDonald's.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Being a Pella consultant means helping people build their dreams.
Customers really appreciate just how prepared we are. All the samples, the videos, pictures.
We are with you from start to finish. You literally have a friend from beginning to end and beyond with your project.
Our Pella team simplifies the process, taking time to listen and find the right solution for you. And right now, get windows as low as $22 per month and doors as low as $89 per month. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Certain restrictions apply. It's 3/31/2025.
Brewers baseball is in the air.
It's back, and it is up, and it is gone. A walk-off homer for Vinny Capra.
Spring back into the baseball season on 100.5 ESPN, Madison's new home of the Milwaukee Brewers.
Time for a highly abbreviated Whoa, Nelly.
If the topic is good, the guys discuss.
Just the other morning, I had breakfast at Tracy Rocco's house. His mama brought out 15 flapjacks. He said, Mama, take back 5 of them flapjacks. I gotta stay hungry for the Crimson Tide.
But if it's not, the show must go on. It's time for
Whoa, Nelly!
On Wilde and Tausch.
So, John, something happened a little earlier in the show that I wanted to check the replay on here for those watching along on the video stream with us on YouTube, on ESPN Milwaukee and ESPN Madison.
Oh, boy.
This was back in the first hour of the show. I know it's vacation week, but let's go check the replay here. Here's a Pepsi in the right hand going down the hatch as you're finishing it off here. And then, there it goes. And left hand comes up Pepsi and it goes down the hatch too.
How did I miss this?
What happened? Were you
two-fisted slopper?
Were you double-fisting Pepsis in the first hour of the show today?
No, I don't know why that came across that way. I am on my second though. I'm and I am amphibious, so I can use either hand when I drink. But
yep, heard that.
It is. But no, I don't know how you cobbled that together. The one switch from the other.
There was no cobbling. This was just playback here. Again, let's check the right hand. Did you make the switch that fast? So again, finish. Yep, that Pepsi is gone.
That's the end of it. And then
where'd this one come from?
No, I don't know how that worked because I only have one. Only had one.
I didn't
Wait a minute, Jesse.
There's
creative editing.
No editing.
Yeah,
no editing involved there.
I would say that tape is doctored for sure. Isn't that what we say about everything anymore?
Fake. It's a deep fake.
I'm not good enough at this stuff to make deep fakes.
That's actually fair.
So.
That's actually very fair.
We got Pepsi. We love Pepsi. We love Pepsi
Great
Zero
partner,
Sugar.
yeah.
Proud partner of the NFL draft. I'm going to tell everybody about them in a minute here. But the two Pepsis in the 9 o'clock hour of the show going right away back, like whether it was one Pepsi or two, you really did a nice solid job with them there. That's all I got to salute to you, sir.
Yeah. I don't deny, like I said, I'm not sure how that was cobbled together, but I only had one, and now I'm on my second. But and that's just by the end of the day, I'll have had 5 or 6, which is terrible for me, but that's okay. It's my one vice.
If you are not watching, there are certain times when I would say that as good as our show is audio-wise, there are moments that the video crew gets a little bit better experience, and this would be one of those times. Whoa, Nelly.
Yeah.
Whoa, Nelly!
And that's all we have time for, unfortunately. We'll save the rest for tomorrow. You'll never get to experience the rest of Whoa Nelly, John.
There's going to be a real void in your life, John Anderson. We'll wrap things up with John Anderson, our cousin sub of the day. Cousin subs, we believe in better. More next. It's Wilde and Tausch.
We're on the Packers.
If they're not better this year,
because we're on Wisconsin sports,
there's going to be a lot of seats warming up.
Nobody covers the green and gold like 100.5 ESPN.
Hey, it's Jesse Nelson. I'm here to tell you about Pepsi and Pepsi Zero Sugar. Maybe we should have John Anderson of ESPN fame telling you about it after we just checked the replay of him enjoying a Pepsi during Wilde and Tausch today. Pepsi is a proud partner of the NFL and, of course, the NFL draft in Green Bay. You're going to want to try Pepsi and Pepsi Zero Sugar. Perfect for whether you're hosting Wilde and Tausch while enjoying spring break with your family or the perfect tailgate mixer as well. Pepsi and Pepsi Zero Sugar is there for you. And Pepsi Pepsi is bringing back the Pepsi Challenge at the NFL Draft Experience in Green Bay, coming up less than a month away. So if you're on your way up to Green Bay to experience the draft this year, which I know many of you will be, make sure you're enjoying Pepsi Zero Sugar in hand, and check out the Pepsi Challenge at the NFL Draft Experience. Pepsi, proud partner of the NFL Draft, and the Wisconsin Badgers. Enjoy Pepsi and Pepsi Zero Sugar, just like John Anderson on today's show. Pepsi and Pepsi Zero Sugar.
Rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Pablo Iglesias.
This Badger Minute is brought to you by The Jump Around. Don't miss new episodes of this exclusive digital show talking all things Wisconsin sports, premiering every Thursday at 12:30, streaming live on the ESPN Madison YouTube channel. Wisconsin women's hockey now 8 titles strong after Sunday's roller coaster win over Ohio State. 38-1-2 their final record, and a list of accomplishments that followed. Mark Johnson, National Coach of the Year. Ava McNaughton, Goalie of the Year, and Casey O'Brien, National Player of the Year. O'Brien's words on their strong chemistry.
We're the deepest team that I've ever been on. If you're having a bad day, or if the first line or whoever it is having a bad day, that the next line is going to step up. It's a really special thing, and most teams don't have that. So for us to be able to have that, especially going into high pressure games like the national championship, is insane.
Right now at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, get windows as low as $22 per month and doors as low as $89 per month. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Ben Brust here to tell you about why your next work van should be from Mercedes-Benz Sprinter at Zimbrick European. First off, we have versatility. The Sprinter vans offer 16 body types and thousands of ways to customize that space. Number 2, we have reliability. Sprinter's most powerful diesel engines last longer and require less maintenance, spend more time on the road and less time in those bays. Number 3, we have safety. Sprinter's safety technologies include curtain airbags all around, load adaptive electronic stability program, and crosswind and attention assist. Number 4, Van Care Mobile. Our maintenance team can come to you with routine service. Who wants to go in? Let them come to you. They work with multiple trucks on one visit. Use the Mercedes Me Connect. And last but not least, get your Zimbrick Sprinter at Zimbrick European at Rimrock Road and the Beltline, or go online at ZimbrickEuropean.com, because they never charge over the MSRP.
I'm John Hayes, owner of Goodman's Jewelers. We've been at the heart of many magical moments, from engagements to weddings to sweet 16s. It warms my heart to be a part of these moments for 40 years with people I consider family. With the highest standards and an eye for classic beauty, enjoy a warm boutique setting at Goodman's Jewelers, where integrity shines in every gem. At 220 State Street, Goodman's Jewelers, the Diamond Store, Madison, since 1933.
The best is at Goodman's.
Listen to Madison Money Guy every Saturday morning at 7 a.m. on 100.5 ESPN and ESPNWisconsin.com.
I like to refer to inflation as the silent killer. It's an invisible risk. It's just the idea that things get more expensive over time. You're going to need milk and eggs when you're in your early 60s and when you're in your early 80s. You're going to get a loaf of bread, and it's going to be more expensive 20 years from now.
Christian Finfrock is the Madison Money Guy. Call him today at 208-1800.
We're on the Badgers.
It was successful, but also disappointing. That's just what this season was. I don't think any of us went into the season going, they're going to be a 3 seed. They're going to be really good this year. They're going to be competing for a Big Ten championship again.
This is 100.5 ESPN and Wisconsin On Demand.
I say, hey, I'll be gone today, but I'll be back from around the way. It seems like everywhere I go, the more I see, the less I know.
John Anderson, my brilliant time management, leaves us 45 seconds in the show. You've finished off a Sports Center or two abruptly. The floor is yours to say the end of the program.
That's where my friend Bill Pito would always be like, if they came out with 20 seconds, he'd be like, what are we going to take calls? What do I do with 20 seconds? Just dock the boat when we come through. I've heard it several times throughout the show, the spot that's run. I am elated for the Badger women's hockey team. I always tell people, like, I love the Packers, I love the Brewers, I love the Bucks. Do you have a favorite hockey team? And I'm always like, well, the 1980 Olympic team, but they only played for a couple weeks. And then it's always been Badger hockey. Is just when I grew up on that as a kid, watching the replays on PBS. And so that the women's Badger hockey team won again and capped what was a historic season with a clutch penalty shot. Would you want to take that? All the good ones do. I would have cowered in fear. congratulations to them. And they now match the boxing team as the most decorated program in school history, which is amazing. When you go, like, I get some people would argue the rowers, but those aren't NCAA championships; they're still natties. But that we finally have matched the boxing team, and for the great Mark Johnson, made my week. And then I can't wait for tomorrow when the Brewers season starts, because that's really all I need in my life is a Brewers World Series. I might even forgive Kansas if that would happen.
Go hit the beach. Go spend time with your family. Thanks for spending time with us. You're the best. That is
John
John
are great
Anderson.
for having me anytime.
He is one of the all-timers, and we're lucky to have him on our team. We're lucky to have you coming along for the ride with us on this show every day. Have a great day. Take care. Be good.
Miss any of today's episode?